Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good wherever you are. My name is JP. This is Websites for Beginners, and this is Module 4, Breakdance. It's WooCommerce, baby. Yes, WooCommerce. And what does that mean? We're going to show you how you use the Breakdance builder for WordPress to build out your e-commerce shop, of course, with WooCommerce. Why WooCommerce? Because everybody kind of does that, and that is what Breakdance can do. In this Module 4, we are going to be creating this shop. Wow, nice shop, right? I like the look. It's very professional, very modern, and it's straight to the point. Thank you for Bloxy for the inspiration for this site. Now, what we will be doing is, apart from this homepage that you see here, where we include many areas that will help us guide our visitor to go shop by showing them latest products on sale, and even products that we manually selected. And this will all take them to what we build out with the WooCommerce builder. But before we get there, just very important is that those elements on our homepage that build out our product list, very important. This is how you get people to get into your shop. And then that shop I've talked about, that is what we'll be doing with the WooCommerce builder in Breakdance. We'll be overriding everything that WooCommerce gives us, the WordPress editor, and we'll be doing it with Breakdance. And in the next chapter, I'll talk a little bit about, is that necessary? Do you actually want to use Breakdance for WooCommerce? Why don't you just stick to the WordPress editor? Everything from your single product page to your shop page. And then we go through the whole checkout, which is a cart basket, and then into your checkout, as well as the account. We're going to work a little bit more on the header and the footer here, because in the header, we will put an area to access the account, as well as this awesome little mini cart. And then in the footer, we'll also set up links so people can access their accounts. It's another 3+ hour tutorial. We cover everything that you need as a beginner to get into Breakdance. And if you have no idea what Breakdance is about, remember Module 1, Module 2, and Module 3, my lord. Go and check it out. Timestamps are in the description below. You can jump around and also check out the single videos here on YouTube. Quick word of thanks. This has always been a channel which never focused really on growth. It was on putting stuff out there for customers I'm working with so that they can access it, and then also open it up for other people who are interested. And the support has always been overwhelming, and I really thank you for that support. Let's get into looking at why you want to consider using Breakdance for WooCommerce and talk about that little bit of a struggle that is always present in the world of WordPress, whether I can just use WordPress as is, or do I need a plugin for that? For me, one of the big features that you want to get in a page builder is the ability to show your products on your static pages, like your home page or even other pages that you have, including landing pages. For that, you need a good element like the product list element, and there are a few others within Breakdance. In Module 3 for blogging, we had the post list element that allows you to bring that onto your front page and show your products. This is a very important element, and I think we don't talk about this one enough. Without that, you are very limited as to how you can display things on your front end. We'll also be looking at the post loop builder within this course, where we construct how we want things to look within that list for our products by ourselves, the way we want. And that is very, very important. You don't always get that in the default, and many WordPress editors struggle with it. But when you look at things like the checkout page, the basket page, the account page, there's actually very, very little for you to do. Why do you need to pay this extra for a premium product just to basically switch out pages that look exactly the same, more or less, before you worked on the builder? And the answer is for the overall coherence in your entire site. In the old days, we had to bring in a theme. Then we had WooCommerce, but we also had the page builder. And then the page builder had its own colors and fonts. And then when I created my WooCommerce shop, I had to go into the theme and I had to set it up separately. I had to style it out and I had to make these two parts of my website look more or less the same so that I can have that inner peace. What builders have done is that they are giving us this opportunity to say, you don't have to go to the theme. Like in Breakdance, you don't even need that theme. We're going to build it all right here. And that is a quick note to understand that, yes, in a way, you can use a page builder and you can use WooCommerce and you can do the two total separately and they're both going to look good. You're always going to run into styling issues later down the road if you want to make changes in terms of colors, photography, and sizing. But once you work with a builder that gives you the full package, like Breakdance and others, then it becomes much more easy to manage that look. And that is why it is good to understand how Breakdance works with WooCommerce. And I would highly recommend, if you didn't do Module 3 on blogging and you don't know about dynamic data, get into that first, because WooCommerce at its core is dynamic data. It's a different form of a custom post type. That's it. Let's roll on in to the course. Time to rock and roll. Enough talk, more doey. And what we are going to do is first set up our shop. I already have my site here, my WordPress site, vanilla installation. I've cleaned it up. I set my permalinks, all of that. And if you would like to know what I did, you go watch Module 1 and Module 2. I show step by step what I do. It's just my own personal style that I inject into the site, or rather remove from the site. So everything is nice and clean here. Normally, I would start with a theme, and there's a reason I'll start with a theme, even though we are using Breakdance, which overrides the theme. But I think in this case, I'm not even going to touch that. I'm going to keep the theme. And just to show you the theme that we have here, go to Appearance Themes, and we have 2025 installed. The one thing you always have to remember about these new FSE themes is that they do not include a menu option under Appearance. So that makes it quite convoluted, tricky to go and create a WordPress menu if you want to use it in Breakdance. But that's why in Module 1 and Module 2, I show you how to do that. We're going to leave this one here so that you can see how it will work without touching the theme. But what I want to do is install WooCommerce. That's the first thing we have to do. Go to Plugins, and we select Add Plugin, and we look for the almighty WooCommerce. And I think there's 7 million plus installations. Can you imagine that? Just on this platform alone, 7 million active installations. Okay, let's go ahead. Install now. And we activate. WooCommerce is one of those plugins that today you use it, you install it, you get to know it, and tomorrow when you install it again, it's completely different. It changes regularly to keep up to date with everything that's going on. If you watch this video 2 or 3 months in the future from now, things will maybe look different, but don't worry. At the very, very basic, everything remains the same. This is not a tutorial on how to set up the shop, how to bring in your products. You can watch other videos on this. This is a tutorial how to build out your whole shop with Breakdance. And because of that, I'm going to select here, Skip Guided Setup. And we can go ahead and do these. I actually want to skip all of that, but I'll go ahead and just say South Africa. South Africa, oh, they have different provinces. Okay. See, it just keeps on improving, and it gives us some fun facts, fun woo fact. And then opening the doors, our shop is ready. There are actually so many things that you need to set up here. It takes you to the screen and it says you have to start adding your products, set up payments, customize your store, collect sales, and launch your store. It gives you this list of things that you need to do. What we'll do is we'll bring in products, but I'm going to import that. We're not going to bring them in one by one and build them out. I already have a list, and I'll put that list, the link for you to download that file in the description, that you can also play along if you want to. A few things just to note. You have this here, you have the notifications to tell you there's so much you still have to do. And at the top, you will see in the WordPress admin toolbar, it says coming soon. That means your shop is not live. You can leave it for now. We don't need that. But we're going to add the products. Add products. And it gives us, what do I want to add? Physical product, variable product, or grouped product. Not important. We go to, are you already selling somewhere else? No, but I copied someone else's file. So you go ahead and import your products from a CSV file. Select. Choose. I'll navigate to my file, and this is my WooCommerce, and over here, I'll upload it. And from here on, you go ahead and you just click yes, yes, yes. You don't worry about any of this. It's just asking you, if you have this, what do you want to name it, and so forth. We just want to import this file as is. And it's 9 products, so you can blink your eyes. You don't even have time for a sip of coffee. Your products are there, and it asks you to view products. Where do we find these products? If you go to the sidebar on the left, under WooCommerce products, and you select all products, and you get them all here. You can go have a look at what's going on with any of these products. This is our snapback cap. And the snapback cap has an image there. Let me just close this bar. I think it's making things jittery. We have our featured image, and this is very basic shop that we have here. We don't have multiple images. We don't have too much data. We don't have inventory. We just have those very basic, like our excerpt, our product description, an image, and that's it. We have a few related categories set up as well, but we're not even using tags. Just have a look at the all products. What I think is important at this moment is to have a look at how this views on the front end. There is no Breakdance yet. There is no other theme except the 2025. Click on View. We go to the front, and this is how it will look. We just have that gut feeling that, this is not what we want. It actually doesn't look terrible, right? It doesn't want us to go on a murderous rampage, but it also makes us feel that there is so much more we can do. Now, having shown you this, now we go and add Breakdance so that you can also see that the moment you install Breakdance, it overrides the theme, and this will look different. Go back into WordPress, we go to Plugins, Add Plugin, and as Breakdance is a plugin that you have to manually install, it's not in the WordPress repository, we go to Choose File, and find my Breakdance over here, and install now. You can practice along for free. Totally, you don't need a pro license for Breakdance. If you want to know how to use the free version, go ahead and watch Module 1, where we work only with the free version. I show you how to sign up, where to get it, and how to add the license. With the installation done, we go ahead, activate the plugin, and then the only thing we need to do is add our license key over here. Note at the top it says theme, disable theme, or keep the theme. We'll stick with the disable function and then license key. I'll add my license key and then I'll select finish setup. I'm not going to show you my key. And with that, we are ready to go. Let's go again to products. And that one we have here is the snapback cap. And now I'll click again on the view. Control click or command click will open a new tab in the browser. And look at the difference as to what is going on here. You can say that Breakdance has a hidden theme. Somewhere out there, Breakdance has in its code, in the matrix, a theme is running. And if you do nothing, you don't even change anything within Breakdance, this is how it's going to look. And I have to say, just from that to that, things look cleaner. They look more organized, and it looks more like a website that we are used to. This year, the fonts are just too big. It kind of feels like a novice had its hand at this page. The purpose here is for you to see that Breakdance truly overrides the theme and has that under the surface theme that it applies. Now that we have all of this ready, we go ahead and start with our product page, our single product. I'll close these two tabs And by the way, I'm using a browser called Brave. I play around with browsers. I try to test them. And also for people who like to see different browsers, if you don't know about Brave, go read a little bit about it. That we just saw. These are products. And terminology is very important when it comes to the world of WooCommerce, or WooCommerce, like some like to say. Each of these is a product, and how it looks on the front end, this one, control click, is a product. So this is a template how this product will display. What we will do is we will override that template. We will create a new template in Breakdance, and Breakdance will say goodbye with that one we just saw and hello to the one we will be creating. The goal is always to create a better template than the one by default. And if you can't, you stick to the default. In this case, we go to Breakdance and we have to access templates. This is where we are going to create it. Currently, our templates will be empty. Go to Add Template, Single Product. And nothing that we have to change here. We are going to apply this single product to all our products. If you wanted to apply it only to specific products, you will go to Settings and set it up there, outside the scope of this course. Edit in Breakdance. And the template, as expected, will have nothing in it. But a number of things change here from Module 1 to Module 3. First of all, let's bring in a section, because that's where we usually start. Add Section, and click again on Add. Collapse all the panels here in the Properties panel on the left, and at the bottom, we have WooCommerce. Unfurl. And we have so many things here that can help us build out this page. We are working on a product page, single product, so the idea is to start building out something very similar, but make it our own. We'll start with one element, and then we'll continue with a second element. The first one is very rudimentary. It's basic, just like the one we saw now on the front end. And then we'll do the second one, which gives you full control. And that actually is here, this one called Product, and the second one, Product Builder. Product Builder, next chapter. For now, select Product, and it drops onto the page, and you're going to see exactly what we saw on the front end. There it is. Here is the snapback cap, related products. We have our description over here. At the top, we have our title, we have price, the excerpt, add to basket, as well as meta data. And here I have my image with a magnifying glass. By selecting this product, you can see that I cannot choose any of these elements on the page. This is the old way in which many of the so-called WooCommerce builders in site builders worked, is they just gave you this. There's very little you can change here. But this is my age-old thing that I always say. If this is everything you need, don't go waste your time and spend your time on building this from scratch. If this is all you need, then you absolutely stick with this, because it is absolutely great. Absolutely, right? Go to the structure panel, open it on the right, and you can see we only have this one element, the product element. In addition, if you go to the properties panel on the left, you'll note there's basically nothing you can add here. You have disable upsells and disable related. So here at the bottom where we have the related products, if you don't want that, you just go ahead and disable it. There are no upsells here, and that's why you don't see it. Let's leave the disabled on for reference. And then here, by product, it says search by title. And the purpose of this one is to give you an idea how it will render. If I choose black t-shirt, you will see that the black t-shirt will now show here. This is interesting because actually at the very top in the quick navigation, you also have that option that you can choose from this drop-down, which ones you want to show. Even if I choose this one, the product will override what I choose here in the display. I would say clear this one. This is probably an archival setting here. Rather use the drop down in the toolbar at the top. Now we are at the brown cap, and there are some related products. And you can go through these products. Retro sunglasses. Would I buy it? Yeah, I would buy it. And at this point, you can call it a day, and you can charge your client or tell your mother you created her ginger cookie site for her. Everything is ready to go. However, remember, we are using Breakdance to make this our own. Now, something I would usually do before I get here, I'm going to do now because I want to show you how global styling will affect how everything will look on your product pages as well as the rest of your shop. This is crucial. I want to say this how many times. The problem is that 10 plus years, even 5 years ago, a lot of these things, we didn't have the global control over things. Every time we made a change, we had to go do it on a manual basis. And many of that has still stuck with us, and many people still do it. And when newcomers come, the concept of a global style is often neglected. That's why I always drill it in. I'll leave this open. We're going to work with this. But don't worry, if you want more control and power over how you make this page looks, we're going to do it in the next chapter. For now, let's set it up so the colors and the fonts are perfect for our site. While we are here, we go to the toolbar at the top, the 3 little dots, and select Global Settings. I'll start with the fonts. Number 1 is typography, and the heading fonts is IBM Plex Mono. I'm going to go Mono here. And the body font is which one? Mantrope, something like that. Manrope or Fig Tree. These are the 2 that I had decided on. Manrope, interesting one. And Manrope, and you can see as I change here how it changes on my page. My base size by default is 16. I'm going to leave it on 16. I want this shop to be very professional in terms of cleanliness. If I go too big, like 18, it starts to look a little bit gimmicky, but 18 is more legible, so you have to make that trade-off. I'll stick to 16, and because I know that the base size by default is 16, I'll go ahead and remove it. I also like the ratio here, which means that I don't have to care about my H1, H2, H3. If I remember correctly, I think the ratio is 1.2 or 1.25. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, Module 2. Go check about the ratio. But I have a few more changes that I want to make here. Go to Advanced. I'll select Headings, All Headings. And then for the All Headings, I will make sure that my weight is set to 700. This one here, Retro Sunglasses, is a heading, but for some reason, it doesn't go to bold. You will see when we start working with the product builder in the next chapter, it does honor the setting. So this product element by itself is a little bit simplistic in that nature. I'll also put my line height on 1.5, and that is 1.5 M, but the line height is set to M by default. I don't need to choose that. Grand. We are done with our typography. Now we go and do our colors, which are very important. You have all of these settings, but first I will go and create my color palette because then I can just select which of my colors I will apply here. This is what I have, strawberry red. And if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I do like to name my colors. First color comes in, second color. This one is flag red. Flag red for this one. Dim gray. Dim gray. Pasting the color. Onyx, onyx. Love this one. And this is a very good color palette in terms of all the shades it has, making design quite easy. What was this one? Iron. And these names are not hard and fast. They're basically just estimates. And two more, three more. Mercury. Paste mercury. Next one is alabaster. 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 And the last one is good old white. And if you've worked with these hex colors for a long time, you know that white, you can just type in triple F, F, and it will give you white. Now with all of this set, I have my color palette, I go to my brand, but look at what's happening on the page. Brand is usually your links and your buttons. I'll go to brand and I will select my strawberry red and look at that. The buttons and my metadata where the links are, they update. For my text, again, have a look. I'm going to choose the dim gray, just a softer. And then for the headings, we go for onyx. The links, I'll also put it on strawberry red. And the background, we're going to put it on white. Very nice. Now I've set up my site's global styling. You have choices for your buttons, but because the button already gets it, I'm pretty much happy with that. Yet there is deeper control if we need it. And now you will notice that under the global settings, we have WooCommerce settings here as well. We'll return to this, but for the colors, we have brand, text, headings, borders, and text on brand. You have more control for how you want to style your shop. But to keep it consistent, we don't even need to dive into this. Unless you decide I want my borders a lighter red or something, then you come and change there. Same for the typography. You have weights and sizes. One of the things that you'll find that every developer of a page builder does is to make the default actually the best version there is. And that is why this product element, as you see it on the page, is the best version there is. You should not mess with this layout. That is my opinion. When I work with learners, the first thing they want to do is bring in 3-4 columns. They want to move the images around. They want to put things in a different order. And I always tell them, don't. I have so many stories of people that I know that tell me how they have abandoned shops just because they couldn't find what they are looking for. And how can people find things easily is when they expect it to be where they want it to be. That is your title at the top, the price, the description, add to basket, and maybe another description here. That's how it is. Let's save this. Save, and now we have created our product template. And I think what we can do is we can exit, go back to WordPress, and go to our products, all products. And let's start with our snapback cap again. Control-click on View, opens a new tab. And there, we've just created this. We've set up our brand with our colors and our fonts, and it looks really spiffy. I just told you, stick to the default, but now I'm going to tell you, let's jazz it up. Let's make it yours and bring in everything you want the way you want. And that in the next chapter is done with the product builder element. Let's leave this one here because we want to just show you how you can build this out by yourself. And we create a new section. Section plus, and we go to WooCommerce. We use this one, product. That was the product element that we had used at the top. Now drop in the product builder. Let's have a look first at what happens here. Overall, it kind of looks exactly the same, right? And you kind of get the feeling that not much has changed here. I want to point out though, look at the title. This time it honors my 700 width that I had set for the title. So a few things to take note of that is just a little bit different. Even though it looks the same, we also see there's no related products here. There is quite a big difference. And the big difference is that each of these elements, components that you see on the page is an individual component. And that you can work with them, you can move them, and you can style them. Open up the structure panel on the right. Let's make the first section, and we call this the product element section. And then for the second section, we'll call this the product builder section. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't want to confuse you because the element is called product builder. Select the product builder and note that within the product builder, you have all of these elements and components going on. So is it just a div? Is it just a section that you can build out? Yes, and also no. The first thing that's yes, you can see we can bring in columns. You can put anything within this block, this section, this product builder. You can bring in headings, you can bring in images, whatever you want. If there is an element for it in Breakdance, you can bring it in here. The product builder comes with its own components. With it being selected, look to the properties panel on the left and note all of these ones here, product reviews, product cart button. All of this are elements that appear within the product builder that is specific to the product builder. And what Breakdance does is it says all of these elements here, they are most probable the ones that you want to use within this builder. We don't think you'll use any of the others, but we're pretty confident that these are the kind of guys that you will be looking for. And what they've done is they've brought in a column container with 2 columns, product image on the left, and they build out the description, the basket ad, and all of that on the right. And then at the bottom, there's product tabs. We're going to do it from scratch so you can get a feel of how it works. With the product builder selected, you can go to the columns, delete, and the product tab, delete. And now we are left with Sweet Blue Boggerel. It's just a builder. There's nothing in there. With it selected, let's do the same and bring in columns first. Click on Add, search for columns, and click for it to drop onto the page and select 50 to 50. Select the first column, click on plus, and then go to the WooCommerce and search for product image. Breakdance brings in product images if you have more than one image for your product. This will display properly. Click, and it drops onto the page. Let's bring in everything, and then later we can look at the elements. Go to the right. Now I want to bring in the product title. So I'll look for product and title. There we go. Drop it in. Next, the price. I'll just type in price, and I see product price. And every time you see the Woo little label on the right, you know that you are working with the Woo builder. Why this is important is it's basically dynamic data. Every time you work with a WooCommerce element, it will go into the WooCommerce builder in your backend in WordPress and fetch the data from there. Select product price, and the product price appears. Next one is an excerpt, which is a description. But because of the world of WooCommerce, it's called an excerpt. And this is product excerpt. And I select that. Now I want to add to cart. I'll search for cart. Product cart button. And finally, I want to add metadata for my categories, I believe. Search meta, product meta. And there it is. Have a look at what we've created here in terms of contents, and this is the standard product element that comes in with this. Now, what we want to do now is style it out a bit. Have a look, like everything in a page builder, you click on the element and you look at all the functions on the left. For the product images, you have the size of the image, you can set that. Sale badge, control over that. Zoom icon, do you want the zoom, yes or no? And then more about the image, the borders, thumbnails, and spacing. Again, I'm not going to mess with this. This is kind of what I want, and I'm very happy with this. Next one is our column on the right. From the get-go, we can see that all of these elements are too closely grouped. Instead of bringing in margins all the time, which you'll still do, we can just add space between them by instructing the column to add space between the elements. Select the column. Go to Layout, select the vertical one, and then Gap. I'll just add 15 pixels. And now 15 pixels have been added between all of them. I'll add some margin at the bottom of the product price. I select that, go to Spacing, Margin Bottom, and I'll add another 20 pixels there. And then between my excerpt and the Add to Basket, I will also add spacing. And for this one, spacing, select wrapper, and then margin bottom, another 20. If you want a little bit more space here in the middle, we do that with the columns. Select the columns, layout, spacing, column gap. I'll put it on 70. By using the gap, I didn't need to apply any padding to this column here on the right. And like that, we've created that. Amazing. That's just brilliant. But you really have to go and look at these elements and dive into them to understand what you can do. Select the product title. You see you can set the tags, and then you have styling options. But I am not going to go into any of this in this course, because when I work with people and I set up their shop, this is where I will stop. No need to tamper with this. I don't understand why you would want to mess with this unless you have something really extraordinary that is very different to what people expect to see on your site. Just look at the product excerpt though. I looked at spacing, and you can see here that we still have, just for the wrapper, but we have H1, H2, H3, H4 paragraph and list. And this is because in the backend, in WooCommerce, you can work with those blocks and set it up and write an entire section. And Breakdance will render it, propagate it here on the front, and you can set all of those individually. Very nice feature. If you look at the add to basket, there's a few nice features here which I like. One is the button, and we have the size of the button. Set the button to small. I like the large one. It's interesting. It's quite convenient. And then there's the default. On the other hand, I'll just close it. There's another feature, the size of the button, which you can go and say percentage and put it on 100%. What you will see though is that only the 100% is the container of the product cart button. The button itself is not full width in terms of the container. And to access that, click here on button fills container, and it stretches nicely. I like this kind of look. This is one that does appeal to me. I think let's keep this one here. We're not going to follow exactly what they did here at the top. But apart from this, remember there's so many other things that you can bring in, especially for building the product. Those elements are easily listed if you click on Product Builder. In the Structure panel, go to Product Builder. You see we have product reviews, we have product info. What else is here? Product rating, product stock, we have product tabs, and then product description, which is actually the long one. And these are all of the ones that are mostly used to build it up. One is maybe what you have in stock. If you want to show people, create the need to buy something, you can select the stock. But we don't have stock at the moment set up in WooCommerce. To bring it in, I'll just click, hold, and drag it, and you can see all the areas where I can drop it. I'll drop it there, and it will tell me, it's looking, this element has no content. You can leave it there. There's no problem in leaving it there, and once you set it up in WooCommerce, it will render here. Another one, I'll click Product Builder again, is the product rating, if you want to bring that in, and the same thing, it's going to tell me that this element has no content. And you can leave it there. The benefit of doing it this way is if you want to shuffle things around, you can do it. If you want to switch your columns around, you can do it. And if you want to bring in 3 columns and maybe have a sidebar with a little bit of extra focus on other related products, you can do it. I think I won't say it again, but you'll understand I'm not going to do that. We're sticking to straight up template building here. And 99.999%, which I'm pretty sure you are one of, you don't need to go beyond this template. Within the product builder, you have these options that you can bring in. But apart from that, I'll select my section level again. Let's go to Add, and let's go to WooCommerce. You can add this to your template. It doesn't have to be inside the product builder. What you have to try and confine yourself towards too is that inside the product builder, you really just want to focus on the characteristics of the product. But you don't have to put it inside the product builder even. You can build it haphazardly with columns and rows the way you would like. One of these that we saw was the product tabs that was included in the product builder. But in this case, I'm going to bring it in as a separate element within this section. With our product builder selected, we bring in one more element, and this is product tabs. Product tabs, a very good example. You'll only find the product tabs within the product builder. You will not find it in WooCommerce. Okay, let me show you again. I've selected product builder. Then I get within the product builder properties panel on the left the option to use product tabs. Click on it and it drops in and it brings me a description and reviews. If I click anywhere here in the structure panel to deselect everything and I go to add and then I search for tabs, I'll get tabs and advanced tabs. I do not get product tabs. And that is that the product tabs isn't the element on its own. It's an element inside the product builder. Hang on to that one. If you ever wonder where are my product tabs, you can only put it inside the product builder. It's not standalone. Select the product tabs. Let's see description. You can add a description here if you want to, additional information, your reviews, and these are the typical tabs that you will be getting. So with your tabs, and I wonder why it's not rendering my retro sunglasses. I'll save. Let's go to the front end, reload this page, and this is the basic element, and this is the one we've created with no description. Where is this description? Why is it not appearing? It's appearing here. I'm going to take a guess here because I have this product element at the top. Maybe that's why it's not rendering. I don't know why, but I'm going to guess that. I'll click on the section and I'll delete it. Let's see what happens. Save, and I'll just reload. And there we go. Yeah, that one got me nervous for a while. I thought it's a glitch. I couldn't understand what happened to my description, but clearly it doesn't want me to work with the same thing on the same page. So I had to go and delete the first one that we've created, and now we've added the description. To interact with it, you select it. You can make changes here. You can add icons. You can change the title. For example, if I don't want to say description, but more information, and it will update and the tab will now be more information. Reviews. And then, of course, there is the option for additional information and your styling happens all over here. I like the default again, and the default is this option called tabs, but you can go for pills, looks like this, and then bar. It looks more like tabs. I like the one on the left and then the control over the position. Keep it to the left. No need to put it in the center. Maybe go full width if that's your thing. But again, we want to stick to what people are comfortable with. This is perfect setup. Still, you have all the controls. Spacing gives you container spacing if you want to add padding to the entire container. And then below the tabs, you can add more space if you think it's a little bit too close. So let's put it there on something like 40 to add that extra bit of space. Let's review quickly where we are. In the structure panel, we brought in a section and then we brought in the product builder. And the elements that we use inside the product builder can come from the general area, which any element like a heading can be a general image. It can be columns. It can be a div. And then we build it out with the elements within the product builder. And when we got to the product tabs, we also learned that some of these will not appear in the general element panel. It will only appear in the product builder, like the product tabs. The next section is related products. Click on product builder, look at the section on the left, and now you will see no related products. And think of it in this way. What Breakdance is saying to you that related products is not directly connected to the product that we are building here. So it's not part of the product builder. The product builder and these elements within the product builder They only focus specifically on the product, the price, the quantity, the SKU, all of those characteristics. The moment you are looking at anything outside that, you have to go to the main elements panel. That means you have to deselect the product builder if it is selected in your structure panel. I'll just click here at the bottom, go to add. Let's collapse everything and go to WooCommerce. And now you can see we have a complete different list. And what we look for now is related products. And we see it here, fourth from the top. Select related products. It drops onto the page. It renders, and there are our related products. Go to the top of the container. We add spacing. I'll add like 75. And the related products come in. We don't have to make changes. This is a WooCommerce element by itself. It will go into the back end. It will look at your main product, which in this case is retro sunglasses, and it will look at which ones you had put in the same category, and then it will render and propagate here in the related products. You have control over the product count. How many do you want to show here? How do you want to order them? This one is nice, random, but you can order them by price and the date you've added them, and then is it descending or ascending, up or down? As always, your design over here. Don't mess with this one too much. It's, again, really good as it is set up. But if you want to take more control and change it a little bit, make it smaller, all your normal design options are here. If you click on the Properties tab for the related products, you will see again you have to filter here for product. As I mentioned before, don't use this one. It's better to use the one in the top. This will then apply to everything. So if I want to check the Stonewall sneakers, I select it, brings in my data for me. This is what we build out. Very pleased with it, and it gives me related products. For this one, under my more information, I need to click on it, and there you can see it brings in the more information. Again, for a moment, I got panicked. Maybe that's one of the things that I did wrong. I didn't click on more information. That could be the reason. Let's do another one. Which one haven't we chosen? Color sneak, quartz, watch, brown cap. Let's go for quartz. Quartz, watch. Tongue twister, quartz, watch. Quartz, watch. And we are not surprised. This is purely dynamic data at play. And it's similar to what we did in Module 3 with blogging. This is a template. You basically do not add any headings or static elements onto this page, except if you want to create structure like columns. The rest is all fetched from the backend from WooCommerce. Having said that, you can add things here. If you want to add a call to action on this page that you want to appear on every page, you do so, and you will do that with something like a global block. We did that a lot in Module 2, where you have a global block, you add your call to action in that, and you add it here to the page. And then in the future, if you want to update that, you just go and update the global block. You don't have to come into the template. Think of sales, think of discounts, running a Halloween special. Instead of doing it each and every time coming to the template, you just do that global block. Go ahead and save. We go to the front and refresh. Good. Data shows that the majority of people are accessing your website on a mobile device, yet the majority of sales are being done on a desktop. So they call mobile, your cell phone, discovery devices, which means people discover new things on their mobile devices. And if they see something that they like on their mobile device, they will switch over to the desktop and come and look deeper into it and maybe make a purchase or two. That means, like always, you have to go and check for responsiveness. Breakdance does mobile and tablets very well. Let's have a look at how this will look. With everything done here, we go to the top and we select tablet landscape. In most cases, I will not do it at this stage. I would have done it from the very beginning so we can get it properly right. In this case, we are doing it a little bit too late. In my opinion, I like to do it from the beginning. Otherwise, I get a little bit flustered if I see everything not looking the way I want it to look. Because we brought in stuff by ourselves. And what we brought in by ourselves was the product builder, and we brought in columns. And the columns is making this look way too big. Go back to desktop, select our columns, and go to the parent columns container layout, and stack vertically. I'll go and just put it on phone landscape. I'm pushing this design all the way to tablet. Tablet landscape. Oh, beautiful, right? And then tablet portrait. Another beauty, JP. And now when we go to phone landscape, it starts to look like this. And I don't think there's any way you can get away from this. This is just the way it is. The image should still be at the top, but you can understand that this space here between your image and your title, your quartz watch, is becoming way too much. Not sure where those margins are applied. I'll select the image. We go to spacing between images and the container. Margin top, margin bottom. I'll just add 0 in case it's there, which it's not. Then the quartz watch. Quartz watch, margin top 0. And it doesn't do much. I know what I did. This is because of the columns spacing. Let's go up and select column, but go to the parents column container and then to spacing and then column gap here. That's the one. Add 0. Okay, figured it out. Who's the genius? Well, not me. The other thing that I think is really important that you have to pay notice to is you are maybe pleasantly surprised at how good this looks from the initial look on something like tablets and mobile devices. Why is that? And the reason is because we did that effort at the very beginning to go to global settings and we set up everything here in typography. Let me just go back to desktop. We set it all up here. We had our base size, we had our ratio, and we went to colors and we set it up here. Doing that right saves you mountains of work, and you can see how good it looks on tablet. The fonts are scaling. The titles are scaling. And we go to the phone, same thing. Are they scaling? Why it doesn't look to me like they are scaling? No, they are scaling. But I don't see my typography. Let me just go and type in 16 again. Oh, I remember now the base size because I deleted it and I also mentioned that the ratio from Breakdance for this is exactly what I wanted. Correct myself, save. And that was just a few minutes ago. How quickly I can forget. If you want to preview it, remember this app that I recommend. You can check the link in the description below called Responsively. Download it. It's for free, and it makes sure that your website will look good when it is viewed on different devices. I'll grab the URL, go to the top right, click on the close button, select copy URL. We go to Responsively. Again, I have to click twice and paste the URL in the address bar at the top. And this is our product. Pardon our dust, we're working on something amazing. Check back soon. Because my shop is in coming soon mode. This page, we go back. This page is coming soon mode and is only visible to you and those who have permission to make it public to everyone. Change visibility settings. I'll just save it and we go and change the visibility settings. There's a nice link. And if it can be clicked, we get trigger happy and I click on it and nothing happens. I close that, still nothing happens. So this link pretty useless here. We exit to WordPress. WooCommerce, click on coming soon here in the toolbar at the top and say live. Your entire site is visible to everyone. Yes, everyone. And now when we go back to responsively, come responsively, and I reload it, it will not tell me this part and nonsense. There we go. Do you want to buy my watch? It's in Rand. It's supposed to be in dollar, but I guess because my site is set to South Africa, it's brought it in Rand. And 50 Rand for this watch is clearly a knockoff. I don't even think the materials are worth 50 Rand at this moment. Beautiful. Beautiful. This is our single product page. We've created this template. And now we are done with that. Let's review quickly what we did. How your product looks is generated by WooCommerce, but with Breakdance, we override that. To override, you go to Breakdance, Templates, and you add a template here. What we did is we clicked on Add Template, and we selected Single Product. Then we created this. We didn't need to make any changes to the settings. It's all set up. It will override our single products. After this, we selected Edit and Breakdance. And essentially, we created only one section, as far as I remember. And in the section, we put a product builder element. From a structure menu, we can see it's a product builder element. We add columns. We brought in all the components to build out this product. And at the bottom, we added the product tabs as well as related products. There is more you can add here. You can add global blocks. You can add more WooCommerce features here. This is a small shop. You don't need more. What you will need is navigation, the header and the footer. We'll get to that later. Now that we have created this one here, we need to go and create our shop page. Terminology is very important when we talk about WooCommerce. Products are these single products, like the quartz watch or the snapback cap. This is a product. Our shop page is where all of these products are combined and you can view all of them and maybe filter them so you only see certain products. But the shop page is very, very important. And that's why we'll do it next. Let's talk about the shop page. I have to tell you, I'm not always a big fan of recording these tutorials. And the only reason is I work with music. So when I'm making these tutorials, it is so quiet. I feel weird. It feels uncomfortable. And if I had to play music, of course, the tutorials will go down the drain. But just want to share that with you. Let's continue. We've created our single product page. Now we need to go and create our template for our shop page. And that is your browse area where all your products come together. You've seen this on every website. It's often called your shop page or your products. We do that within the template section. We exit, go to the top and select exit to WordPress. From the add templates, go to add template, and this is a WooCommerce one. We have to do it over here so we are sure that it applies to our Woo areas. And this is a shop page and all product archive. And we select that. It's going to create one for us. And we can make a few changes if we want to change the name. I'll call it my products page. Let's select settings. And Breakdance is going to warn me every time. Are you sure these next settings are advanced? Don't let that fool you. They're not advanced, kind of standard. I'll change the title to products. But shop is very standard. And you can see it's applied to all archives and all product archives. And select save. This is very important because the feature we're going to use for filters can only work on these templates, these archives. We've changed it to products. Let's go into the template archive or the archive template. I think that's the correct way. And select edit and breakdowns. What I'll do for the beginning, I want to add a page title with some breadcrumbs. Click on add, bring in a section. And change the background color, and it will be iron. Bring in a heading, search for my heading, enter, change the name to products. And we want to align this, or rather, I want to align it in the middle. To do that, click on section, layout, and center align with this function over here. That's how we do it in Breakdance. Really like it this way. One of the features that you will often find in shops or custom post content and blogging is breadcrumbs. I love breadcrumbs. It just tells you this is the kind of environment you're working with lists, and we'll add breadcrumbs here. With your section selected, select add, scroll all the way to the bottom where you get WooCommerce, open it, and scroll all the way to the bottom. And then you see the Woo breadcrumb down here. This one I'll place on top of products. Click, hold, and drag. And with the thick blue line there at the top, drop it there. It comes in pretty much the way I would like it. Shows me from home. This is my shop. And if I had other categories and I go to my single products, then of course we will have more breadcrumbs. I put it here just so that it can look like, we know what we are doing. And I like breadcrumbs. I use it all the time. Click on section. I want to add more space between these two elements, and with only 2 elements on the page. Section, properties panel on the left, gap, and let's do 70. Oh no, let's do 35, half of that. Now we're done with that. Add another section, add section all the way to the top, and drop it, and we bring in now our list for our products. But here, very, very careful. Our end goal is to have all our products on this page, plus a filter. And the filter can allow users to filter the products by price. Maybe they can only afford a certain price range, then they use that filter. But that filter can only work with a specific element. Let me quickly tell you first about that. I want to bring in the product list. Click on a plus. Let's go to our WooCommerce. I'll close these. And when I select product list, it drops in and it creates my shop page for me. However, this will not work for us. So the product list is this great, absolutely awesome, amazing, we can stop now, element that lets us filter products. But the shortcoming is that this element here does not work with the filter element. Select add again. We'll scroll again to the bottom and note there is this one, shop filters, which we'll tackle in the next chapter. But this shop filters does not work with the product list. Instead, we use the element shop page. Go to the top and you'll find shop page here. I'll click, drag onto the page, and I'll put it above the product list for you to see the difference between these two. And in terms of styling, design, there is no difference. There is absolutely zero difference. But the shop page element comes in with a little filter sorting at the top that makes it different. And this one can tie, and I'll go to add again, to the shop filters element that we'll bring in the next chapter. If you don't believe me, go ahead. Create your page with the product list element, bring in your shop filters. It will not work. You have to bring in this one, shop page. In the future, if you run into this situation where you've created an archive page for your shop or your categories, and you find for some reason that the filter is not working, it is highly likely that you did not use the shop page element. I'll scroll, select this one, and delete. Let's talk about what we have here. Select the shop page, and we have only 2 functions. We have our design, and we have settings. So I cannot choose what I want to show or not. I am stuck with all of these products. Yep, that's kind of what a products page is all about. It shows all your products. In our case, our shop only has 9 products, so really nothing to brag about. But let's say we had 200 products. Then we will add pagination, or we'll let it continuously scroll and add more products at the bottom. But we only have these 9. Under the product list, we have elements. We have all the elements. You can see we have image. And then there is this option for order. If I want to move these elements around, let's say I give this an order of 2. You can see now that I move the image below that. And that is what the order is going to allow us to do, is move it around within this little box that has my image, it has my product title, the price, as well as the add to basket. You have other options here. If you want to add more space before or after the image, let's say I need a little bit more space there, 25. That works very nicely for me. Just clear this one. I can add borders if that is something. Let's put it on solid. The width on 1. You can see the color is automatically set to red. Let's put it on iron. That looks actually pretty nice. Note, there is definitely a border radius applied, soft little border there. If that's okay with you, if you don't want it, you go to 0. Now you have those sharp corners. I actually like that. I'm going to keep it. You can add a shadow. That's what many people do. Just remember, if your shadow is too soft, it's not because of the blur. I've seen many people try and reduce the blur and then they're still confused why the shadow is so soft. They go into the color, they put it on black. It's still soft. And it's because the opacity slider here at the bottom has been dragged to the left. If you need something more prominent, then you do it like so. I'm not going to add the shadow. I'll remove it. I really like it the way it is. And for each of these elements, you have your image, you have your title. You go ahead and style them out. For example, the price. I think the price here, the size is too big. So the current price is going to drop it down to 18. And then for my old price, I will put that on 16. Make it a little bit smaller. I don't want the price too big. I don't want to throw that into people's face. I just want to show them the price is there in case they were interested. And then you have the other elements. You can add excerpt. You can add ratings. This is your products page. This is your combination of all your products. So in this event, I think sticking with these 4 elements, the image, the title, the price, and the add to basket, I'll stick to that on my product page. You may want to add a few more. Then you have the layout for your product list, products per row. It's set to 4 at the moment. Let's go to 3, back to 4, and then between products, clear it out, nothing happens, add space, let's say 60. It adds 60 pixels, unfortunately does it also to the rows. That's one feature I wish I could have more control and just add to the rows independently from the columns. That is okay. So let's leave it on 4 for the moment. We'll change that again soon. And then the product wrapper is the entire box. Product wrapper, if I want to align everything to the middle, I want to change the background. No. And then you have borders and padding again. I like it to the left. This is the design that we want to go for this. You have your result count. That's here at the top, showing all 9 results. We can change the color just to spice it up, showing all 9 results here. Pagination, if we needed that. Spacing. I just want the result count pagination. No, and advanced. Interesting, they don't have an option here for the default sorting. We've created our page. Let's save this. That's the product page in a nutshell, but we're going to spice it up in the next 2 chapters. What your products page is about though, this is it. Copy the URL, then we go to responsively app, paste. It looks good. And it looks good on our responsive devices. By default, Breakdance sets it up, so we have to worry about very little. That, as I said, is as basic as it comes, but in 90% of the cases, particularly when you only have a page with 9 products, you really don't need more. But let's talk about filters next. I've already talked about filters in the previous chapter when I mentioned you can only use the filter element if you are using this element, the shop page element. Now I want to connect that filter to this one, this shop page element here. I'll create first columns. Click on the section, go to add and set in columns. And I'll choose this one. That gives me 1/3 and 2/3. Bring in my shop page element. I'll click on it, hold and drag into the right-hand corner. And then we make a few changes because 4 products, too many. Where do we go for this? Elements, layout. Yes, the layout. 3. 3 is better. Still think it's a little bit cramped, but this is good for our display purposes. Click on the left-hand column, add, and we look for that filter. I showed you earlier, if we go to WooCommerce, scroll to the very bottom, shop filters, third from the bottom, and click, it drops it into the column on the left. Very nicely, it already knows that I can go as low as 20 Rand, actually not even, and as high as 60 Rand. Rand is South African currency, and that's what my shop is set up for. If you look to the properties panel on the left, under widgets, there are actually 4 filters. Why I only see one? And the reason I only see one is because the others do not contain content within the product, the single product. So if it had a rating, it will show. If it had other active filters, it will show it doesn't. Let's do this from scratch. Go to the widgets, next to it clear, and now there are no filters. Select add filter, select the widget, and we have the same 4 that you just saw. I'll select price filter, and again, that's it. You have price filter options, and the only thing you can do here is change the name. So I can say sort by price, which is actually filter, not sort, but just to show you, you can change this up. And that's it. Let's save. This time, let's go to the front end within our browser. I select copy URL. We're done with the snapback cap. Control V, paste. And this is how it looks. Default sorting, sort by popularity. We don't have that. Sort by low to high. I didn't test that earlier. Let's see low to high. Very nicely done. And now let's sort by price here on the left. I drag it, nothing happens. You have to select filter. And once you've done that, it shows me the 2 products that fall within this range. Let's move it to the right. Next, filter. And the products that fall within that range. Awesome. Only thing I see here is that this space between the filter, the left side column and the right, that's a little bit too narrow for me. I want to add more space here. If I increase the gap of the columns, the right-hand column also becomes smaller. I think it's already a little bit squashed. I don't want to do that. So what I'll do instead is just add padding here to this column. Into Breakdance Builder, make sure I select the column, go to spacing, padding, and I'll add 35 pixels to the right. Good, that looks much better. Finally, I want to feature a few of my products in this column on the left that I want to promote. Maybe a selection that is something like this week's special. But I run into a problem here. For this, I will use the product list. Let's go to Add. At the top, Product List. Click, hold, and drag, and drop it in the left-hand column. The problem I have here is how it looks. Right, so of course I want 1 per line, and I'll show you soon what we're going to be doing. Let's go to Design First, Layout, Products per row, and put it on 1. First and foremost, what is interesting here is that in the post list element that we worked with in Module 3, we have an option for list. List, grid, slider, masonry, tabs even. For the product list in the WooCommerce builder, somehow we don't have that. I'm not entirely sure. Breakdance can give us this option. What I envision here is to have my products in a list, in a row, and a small little image on the left, and then my product title and the price. That's all. That's all I want. But as you can see, nope, I cannot do that. If I go to Elements, Image, I can enable, disable, but I cannot even change the size of the image. Do not fret though, because we're going to create this from scratch by ourselves. Many people get very nervous here, especially me. Yeah, every time I'm working with this kind of feature, I'm never 100% sure if it will work out. Let me explain to you what we're going to do. This is called a loop builder. What is a loop builder? A loop builder is exactly what you see here. There's a product with an image, a title, a price, and a button for add to basket. And then it is repeated with the next product. And then it is repeated with the next one. And it creates a loop. That's where the terminology loop comes from when we talk about elements like this. This product list, as well as the shop page element, they are loops. They are repeating the dynamic content. This loop, though, has been created by the Breakdance developers and it is set. And many people often complain, but I want it this way, I want it that way. And so after many years, the developers decided to give us as the user the power to create a layout that suits us. It's not complicated, but it takes a few steps. Once you get used to it, you probably want to use it all the time because it gives you that full control. My philosophy is if the standard element can do the job for you, you stick with it. But in this case, this product list just doesn't want to do it. Let me just have a look here under Add, Cart Tools, Checkout. I don't see a mini cart, shop filters, widget. I just want to make sure there's nothing else. What is this? Product Builder. Oh, that's the one that we used already. No, upsell, shop page, cart page. No. Right. Let's go ahead and delete this. The first thing is we need to create a template, and this will be done in global blocks to show what we have in mind. I'll just save my work, Control S, Command S. Next step, create a global block. Go to the top from the editing template dropdown, click on the plus. On the right, select global block. I'll call it simple product list. Select save. From the dropdown, once it appears here, I'll click on it and we begin editing. What I'm going to do now is create one instance of how I want my post to look. But just look at the top, already it is set to snapback cap. I can put it on anything else, but this is going to be great for us to work with this. First, we need a section, as everything starts with a section. Then next is an image. Image, drop it in. And because my product is set to snapback cap, the image should display once I tell the image over here that I want that dynamic data. Next to media, click on the disks. Let's open the Insert Dynamic Data. We're talking about WooCommerce. From the categories on the left, search for WooCommerce and product image. The only thing we can choose here that's going to work. And my snapback cap comes in. With the image selected, I'm going to style it out. Design, image, and height or width, because I want to make it a 1:1 ratio, is 42 pixels. Very small. You'll understand soon what I'm working towards. Aspect ratio, I'll put it on a 1:1, and object fit, I'll set it to cover to make sure it looks good. Next, go to borders. For radius, I want this to be a circle. I'll put it on percentage, and we put it on 100%. Width, style first, solid, color, I'll put it on iron again. And then width 1. You can see there's a small little circle. Let's make it darker so we can see it better. I'll use the red. I wouldn't use the red on my site, but in this case, I just want to show the red so you know what we're doing. With that, I've created almost like an icon image here for my product. Yes, very, very small. Next to this, over here, I want to add the product title. We do that by bringing in a heading element. Add, look for a heading, enter. On the left, in the properties panel, go to text, the disks for dynamic data, WooCommerce, product title, and select. It will bring in the snapback cap. You can change the product up here if you want to test something else. Let's go to elegant bag. You can see image updated to elegant bag as well as the title. Click on the heading. Let's go to design. Typography, I'll reduce the font size to 18. Very small. However, I want this title to be next to the image. And that we do on a section level, the parent container level. Click on the parent container, which is the section, layout, and select horizontal. Now they're all nicely horizontal. Add gap between them, 15. Below this, add the price, For the price, I'll bring in a standard text element. Add, text, enter, properties panel on the left, text, dynamic data, search for WooCommerce, and product, price. There's the price. The problem is that I want the price below the title, but I want both of them next to the image. That is achieved by putting them both in a div. Select Elegant Bag, right-click, wrap in, div. Nothing changes, it's just a div. Now I can put the price within the div. Open the structure panel for you to see that. We have the div here, the heading is inside. Click on the text, which is price, and just drag it to the right to add it to the div. The div automatically, if you go to layout, is set to vertical. That's why it displays as vertical. Exactly what I wanted to achieve here. Let's change to black t-shirt so you can see how it will look. Propagate is taking a little bit longer, but there we go. And the price, there we go. And that's all I'm going to do here. This is how you build out your content for the loop builder. You create one, and the loop builder, which we'll bring in now, will loop it to all the products. One thing I just do, because I'm a little bit concerned about this, select section, and I'll remove all the padding. Spacing, padding, 0, and apply all. I'm never sure whether the padding of the section will show in the global block if you use it in a loop builder. That's why I remove all padding and all margins. Save. We are done. We are done. Awesome. You're going to see now when we go back to our template for the shop, how we're going to use this. To the top, editing global block, select the drop down. We can select products, takes us right into the template builder. Now comes the part where you charge your client or your little brother premium prices because you tell him, this took me hours to make. Click on the column on the left, add and search for loop. We see two, post loop builder, term loop builder. When you see the word post, you will think, oh, blogging. No. A post is anything with dynamic content. Even a page is a post. Gets a little bit confusing because by default, we always think post is a blog, but a post is anything that's kind of like a dynamic content single thing. And in this case, it's also for WooCommerce, which also use the post structure. So we'll use this. Term, we'll look at term in the future, and that is something that you do with tags and categories. We stick to post loop builder here, select, and the first thing we have to do is choose the global block that we've created. And from the dropdown, we see simple product list. We only have one. And look at that. Now you understand exactly what I had in mind. I want just a small little list here. Don't want this many. We'll fix that soon. To fix that, and now hold on tight, query. Right? This is where we have to go to set up a query. Select custom. And now it says this element has no content. Click on edit query. What's going on here? The query is set by default to source type post types, posts. Now this posts here is blogging. And that's not what we want to do here. We want to show our products. Delete this posts, go to include and select products. In the bottom right corner, apply query. And everything is back to reality. We feel good about ourselves again. Whew, for a moment we thought, nah, this is useless. So remember that. Go to edit query, make sure it is set to products. The amount is not important really because we are going to set manually which we want to display. But in case you only want to display a certain number, you'll see here it says posts per page, but we are looking actually at total posts. So I'll say 4 and then delete the posts per page. And why is that 8? Because it adjusted it by itself. To choose which one shows manually, we go to conditions, choose a product, a specific product, and we choose here. Okay, so which ones do we want to promote this week? Let's go for snapback cap. quartz watch, that Stonewall sneakers, tongue twisters, and grey shoes. Only these 4. Just click here and you'll see that they've been selected. If you want to remove any of them, click on delete and add as you wish. You don't need to add a condition for each of them. You can select them like this. Very nicely done. How do we order them? We can order them by date, last modified. I like random, specifically because this is a weekly focused thing that I do. And now when I say apply query, the following happens. We see only 4 and the 4 that we selected. Doesn't look good, right? Too much space here. No idea why there is so much space, but the post loop builder says you need space. Go to design. Go to spacing. We'll start here. Margins, probably not a margin. You can put 0 there and 0. This is the thing that annoys me a little bit here, is that I'm not entirely sure where this space is coming from. We can select modified. I doubt it. Yes, there's no indicator. Next, we go to container. Padding, right? Should be this one. Type in 0. Apply all. No, because the container is this big block. There's no padding there. And that means we go finally to post. And here is padding for post. And now when I type in 0, apply all that space is gone. And where is this space coming from then? Which is perfect. Go to list. And that is space between items. Type 0 to prove it, and it's gone. I like it where it was, which is probably something like 15. Yes, I think it's 15. No, 20 it seems. 20. Let me try. 20 is exactly the default. And that is the space applied. Oh, nice. However, I want to put title in here and add space. To add the space between these elements, select a column, go to layout, make sure it's on vertical and the gap at 70, and now the gap is applied. Bring in a heading, and we look for heading over here. I'll drag it to the top of the post loop builder. This week's selection. Reduce the size, typography, font size 24. Maybe a little bit smaller, 18. But the problem is that this heading is also an element, and we've told the column to apply 70 pixels between all of the elements. Now this space between this week's selection and the post loop builder element is too big. We can remove that, add space, but what I'm going to do is again just create a div and put these two in the same div. Right click, wrap in div, and then take my post loop builder and put it in the div. Now I can select the div and layout and tell it to add a gap of 18. Nice. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Woohoo! Premium, right? Save our work and let's view it on the front end. I think we still have this tab open here. Refresh. Nice. And we go and click. Wait, what? Why I cannot click on this week's selection? Can I click on my... Yeah, I can click on these. Why I cannot click on this? Again, this is something we have to instruct our global block that this actually is a clickable feature and it takes us to the post. So not to worry, something we have to fix. Go to Breakdance, editing template, drop down at the top, select our simple product list. And now we have to think. We want this entire block, this entire section to be clickable. Right-click on this section and note that we cannot wrap it in a link, so we cannot make it clickable from here. What we're going to do is add all of this inside a div and then put a wrapper link in that. Makes it much easier to work with. I'll select my section, add a div here, and now drag in the image into the div and drag in the div below the image. Go to the div and make sure we make the settings also horizontal, and the gap was 15. Same as we did with the section. With the div selected, right click and wrap in link. And actually I could have just used the wrapper link. I didn't even have to use the div, but anyway, there we go. And from the link, go to the little dynamic data icon on the right, post permalink. Save. Go to the front end, refresh this page, and look at that. Ooh, let's go back. Ooh, look at that. So in this case, the URL is still the post permalink. And we know that because under WooCommerce, we only have the product image URL. We want to stick to the post permalink. So post here is the general term. Great way, great way. And now we have finally set this all up. Whew. Let's save our work and just go back to our products template. Make sure everything looks good here. And it takes some time to load, but finally it brings in and propagates everything nicely on the page. Wow, we've created our shop, our products page, and we can save this. From here, I think it's time we start looking at navigation because we want to add all of this into a cart. We want to go to checkout. Before we create that, let's create some navigation and a home page. And just a home page for reference. I'm not going to put any content on it yet. Probably do that at the end. And then after that, we'll build out the rest of the shop. Exit to WordPress, go to the top right and select Exit to WordPress. I guess this will take us to the templates area within Breakdance. And currently we should have 2 templates here. Yes, we have our products and our single product templates over here. Before we start working on the checkout and the cart pages, what I want to do is just create a home page. I'm not going to put content on it, but at least also bring in a header so we can make navigation easier as we are testing our shop on the front end. Pages, add page. Close this, call it home. Schedule. Edit in Breakdance. I want to start working on the header, but Breakdance has an interesting snag. When there is no content on the page and I exit, it will not consider this page has been edited in Breakdance. So I need to add some content. I'll just do a quick Euro section, but I'm not going to build it out completely. Nope, let's make it iron as well. Then bring in columns. And I'll put an image here on the right. Choose. And with this, I have enough content here that I can return later and work on it. Just one more change I want to make here. This is our spacing, padding, 0 and 0. So we have this. Great. Save. With something to work, go and create our header. Quick navigator at the top, select the plus. Post type, or rather the type that we want here is our header. And I'll call it header. Easy one. And select Save. With the header selected, edit settings and apply everywhere. Save. If I'm going too quick, go check Module 2 and Module 3 to understand how we are building this header out. Select the header and add a header element. No need for a section. Right, header builder. No need for a section. First, I'll bring in an image, which will be my logo. And choose. Bring in my logo. SVG. Oh, I need to do the SVG thing. To do that, I'm using an SVG logo. Make sure you save your work. Let's exit to WordPress. Breakdance settings. Advanced. Allow SVG uploads in the WP Media Library. Enable and save changes. While we are here, let's go and set our home page. Settings, reading, a static page, and then we select it as home. Save changes. Now it becomes easy. I can just click here at the top to go to my page. What is that? Oh, it's my header. And from the toolbar, I can now select Open Header. No need for me to go to the home page first and then the header. I can just do it like this. Right, so select my header image again. And this time our SVG should work no problemo. Okay, got the rope. Thank you, Bloxy. And we make this much smaller. And the height, 32. Ooh, still too big. Oh, 62, 32. Why? I keep typing 62, 32. Right. Then I want to have a menu here in the middle, which I also haven't created. I'll use a regular WP menu. I look for WP, and there's the menu. Add. It goes to the right. We can't see it at the moment. We'll fix that soon. And then add, and I'll look for search form, and I'll just add that so we can have things here. It's a placeholder at this moment for me. Again, we go and create our menu. And we're going to put 2 currently in this menu. I'll save, exit back to WordPress. And because I'm using a WordPress menu, I have to come and do it in the back end. If I use the menu builder, I will not come here, but I think this is an easy way. Appearance, menus. Give it a name, main menu. Create the menu. I'll select your view all. I want my home page and I want my shop page. Add to menu. So we can see them, save the menu. Great. Go again to the front end and now you can see they appear there. That menu is the only menu available. It has been loaded. Let's make a few changes to it. Breakdance, open header menu. Or open header, because I called it. And then select my WP menu. Go to design, desktop menu, the links, typography. I want to use IBM. Plex Mono, right? And let's put our characters on transform, letter spacing 1.2. Make it a tad bigger. Currently on 16, 18. There we go. I like that much better. Give it a line. That will be under effect. And the effect type is underline. And the color, I'll make it sure it's strawberry red. Let's see. Nice. Okay. That works. And everything else is fine. Not going to worry about the rest. And now we've created this header. This helps us now on the front end. Select Save. We navigate with the quick navigator back to the home page just to make sure that it is displaying properly here. Go ahead, copy the URL, top right corner. Go to the front end, paste. And now we have something to work with. Let's navigate and see what happens here. This is our home page currently. Later on, we'll build this out. Go to the shop page. Now you can see our header appears here at the top. We have a products title or rather a section title here for our products. We created this earlier. And when we click on any of these single products, like the gray shoes, it takes us into the single product and our header appears at the top. Just to make sure it looks good on mobile and tablets, go to responsively and paste that URL link that we had copied. So on these devices, I'm not happy with how the header currently looks. We'll have to go and change that. Into my builder, go back to our header. Go to tablet landscape. I don't want it to stack on this level. Select header builder, layout, stack vertically, and I'll say from phone landscape. Tablet portrait is still good. Phone landscape. And at this point, I think I will still not stack it. Never. And what I will do is select this element over here, the search element. and I will say search element, hide on breakpoint, and I'll hide it on phone landscape and phone portrait. In builder hidden, save. We go back to responsively, refresh. Brilliant. That's the way. We like it. If you want to know how to change out the hamburger menu, set up the drawer, whether it's a drop down off canvas, all of that is covered in our module 3. Go check it out. But now that we've got all of this navigation working for us, let's do a checkout. Now that we've created our navigation, let's go create the rest of the pages, exit back to WordPress. In the dashboard, go to Pages and select All Pages. If you are familiar with WooCommerce, which I hope you are at some level, we know that we have a number of pages here already. We have Basket, which is the cart page, Checkout, which is our checkout page, and these pages, plus My Account and Refund and Returns Policy, as well as the Shop page. These have all been created by WooCommerce. The Shop page, of course, this one, the template is being used by Breakdance. That's the one that we've just created. The flow is once people add something to their basket, that happens in the cart page. Hold Control Command and click on View. This will open a new tab in your browser and show us your basket is currently empty. So we need to go and add a little something here. Let's do that. What I will do, go to our page here. Let's go to Shop. And we are shopping. Ooh, black t-shirt. And then add to basket. Black t-shirt has been added to your basket. And that is the cart page. We select View Basket. And here we go. This is how it currently looks. I think it's important that you wrap your head around what's going on here, because your fonts, your colors, everything that you've set up in global styling is here. This looks like you've created this page. And the short answer is you haven't created this page, but you did set the global settings. And the theme, which is Breakdance, is overriding the WordPress theme. And that's why it looks so good, because it's basically your site. You don't really need to make changes here. But of course, this tutorial is all about how you can create this page, which is the cart, the basket page. The reason it's basket is because it's set to South African English. For you to create your cart page within the WooCommerce builder in Breakdance, mouthful. Being on this page, go to the WordPress toolbar at the top, hover over Breakdance and select Open Basket. This will take you into our WordPress editor. If you select it, are these sections that have been built out with blocks. But what we are going to do now is override all of this and edit this page with Breakdance. Go and select at the top, Edit in Breakdance. Click on the plus, and now we want to bring in our cart. WooCommerce, 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 and we look for cart page, not basket. This is cart page. And that's all you can do here is to load in the cart page. Now it looks the way in which the WooCommerce builder is set up within Breakdance, overriding the standard theme that showed you earlier. More control over here. However, actually, you are in a way limited to what this page is all about. And that is, it's a cart page. The only reason you want to do this is because you want to have the full package. But from the cart to the checkout, all of that is kind of set in stone. You should not lose sleepless nights over this. I work with too many newcomers that try and style out these pages, but I want this over there. I want that over there. Just don't. Just don't. Even with this, Breakdance themselves will tell you, don't mess around with it. Don't go change the colors. Don't go change the fonts. We set that all up in global styling. You see we have a layout here. totals position, you can put it top right, bottom left. That's not bad. Or bottom right, if you want to switch it up like this. And then stack vertically, we can say from phone landscape. Then you have your contents, how you want to set this up, your border color, the remove icon. This one on the left, you can style it out, make the size a little bit bigger. And change the color. Hide coupon and actions row. We don't have coupons, so we can hide it. If you have coupons, you activate it over here or leave it on. And then you have your totals. Totals is this area that says basket totals. That's the wrapper for it, space after the title. I can reduce that. I'll put it on 0. You have your rows spacing. Let's put it on 0. You can see now it looks like that. We will add a little bit, 15. Let's put it on 5, something different. That after, space after title, let's make that 15. That looks better. Then for your button, you have space above the button, your alignment for the button. Let's say on the right, I really like this stretched, one of my preferences. And then typography, again, override global styles. Don't mess with that. And what else can you do here? Cross cells, if you have that, currently it's disabled. But we don't have cross cells activated for the store. Our store is very basic. And you'd be a little bit underwhelming, right? Is this it? The answer kind of, yes, this is it. Let's save our page and go copy the URL, go to the front end, open a new tab and paste this. And this is our basket, but let's just go back to our home page, then to our shop. Let's add something else. Snapback cap. We can select the snapback cap here. Click add to basket. It would tell us snapback cap has been added to your basket. Select view basket and we should see 2 items there. And that's it. What we can do here is also add a page title at the top. I'll just select save. And how to do that is I'm going to grab that page title that we had created on our products template. Navigate to products. And there are 2 ways we can do this. First of all, we can make our products title a global block. All I'm going to do is right click and say copy. Next, I'll navigate back to our basket. Right click, paste. It drops it below. So I open my structure and I'll drag the section to the top. Let's just remember to make this cart. Well, basket in this case, seeing that I'm stuck with basket. And save. There are, of course, other things that you can put on this page, but I'll return to the philosophy as keeping this checkout process as close to as expectations of customers. What they are used to across the internet, what they are familiar with. If you start throwing weird stuff in here and all kinds of other distractions, people may just abandon the cart. With the basket, the cart page done, we'll go to the next one, and that is our checkout page. Go to the front end with the tab still open. These are the 2 products that we have in our cart/basket. Next, select Proceed to Checkout. The checkout page is created by WooCommerce, and this is what we see. This is the default checkout page. Again, not bad, but we are creating it with WooCommerce in Breakdance. To override, go to the admin panel at the top, Breakdance, and select Open Checkout. This again opens it within the WordPress editor. I have to admit, I really like what they've done with these Gutenberg blocks, but we are working with Breakdance. From here, select Edit in Breakdance, and just as underwhelming as it was before, we are going to do very little here. We're going to create this page, the section, and then click a plus, go to WooCommerce, And now we look for checkout. Checkout page. The options on the sidebar. So many design options for everything that you have here on the checkout page. You can go through it, the layout, make it a single column if you prefer that, or stack it vertically on different devices. We can say again from phone landscape. You have your coupon section at the top. If you want to override that blue color and make it a different color, enable, disable it. It's enabled by default. If we have a coupon, we'll put it there. I'm going to disable it for now. Then everything else is just styling. And this is a choice that whether you want to do that. And you know what I'm going to tell you by now. It's good enough what Breakdance has done for you as long as your global settings are good. If you need more control, you can go to global settings, scroll to WooCommerce and make additional changes here, all the way from the colors, typography, buttons, and links. And if you're still not satisfied and you want to make those small little changes individually, you do it here on the page. And we go ahead and save the page. We grab the URL again, go to the front, paste it. This is the checkout page, and this is how it will look on the front. Nice and clean, on brand. Oh, love it, love it. Let's have a look also on Responsively app, the whole process. Let's navigate home. Actually shop, that's where we were. Good, and now that we're here, we navigate to the shop. And we already added something to our basket. We can click on gray shoes. Let's go to this mobile device here, which is an iPhone. Click Add to Basket. Select View Basket. Oh, and this is a different instance. This is not my front end that I have within Brave. This is in Responsively, so we only have one product, and then proceed to checkout. Up to tablet, it is 2 columns, and from mobile device, 1 column, which is suitable. Brilliant. Our checkout page is sorted. Let's close the tabs here in the front. We keep opening new tabs. I don't want us to get confused. The last page in this series for WooCommerce is the account page, which currently doesn't appear anywhere, but we go back into WordPress for that, top left corner. Go to WordPress. Go to our pages. And here's the My Account. Select that. I think let's view it, and you can see this one uses a short code for WooCommerce My Account, and we can click here on View Page. By now, you know the routine. You don't really need to mess with this. Few people actually mess with this because, look, my colors are on brand, yet we are going to change it. And how we change it is we go to Breakdance and select Open My Account. We can close this tab as well and just select Edit in Breakdance from here. Same like before, bring in a section, add, we go all the way to the bottom for WooCommerce, and we look for the account page. Over here, account page, drop it. And in fact, it's exactly the way we just saw it. Nothing has changed, and that's kind of the idea. But you have options here for the tabs. It's set to vertical by default. You can put those tabs on the right. If you like that better, you can change the space between them. Maybe a good idea. Add a little bit of that. You have sticky tabs. That is if you have a lot of content here. Also, you can put it horizontal at the top. Many people like to do that. I do like the vertical option, so I'll put it back. Let's just go ahead with the default for tabs. And the rest of this all about styling, colors, and padding. And that is the account page, the most underwhelming chapter of this entire course. One major mistake that so many websites have is that they don't give you the option to quickly access your basket, your cart, or to go to your account. You wouldn't believe it. I recently ordered some stuff online from a company here, close to my house, and there was no way to get to checkout. They had just missed it completely. Luckily, the genius I am, I knew that I could get to the checkout with the URL /checkout to their website address, and that's how I checked out. But let's make it easy for people to navigate around your site. The first way we do that is to put a cart icon, a cart link, a mini cart in your header. While we are here, I'll just go ahead and select copy URL and open a new tab and keep it open, Control V, Command V, so that we can see the account as is at the moment. And from here, next to this search icon in my header, I want to place that mini cart so that people always have access to their cart. If they are still shopping and they decide, I don't want to add anything else, they can just easily hop back into the cart. For that, we need to move into the header. I'll leave this tab open as our front-end reference, go back to the builder, and from the drop down here with the quick navigator, select my header. Select Add. And we have WooCommerce open here and look for the mini cart over here. Click hold and drag it, and I'll place it to the right of the search option. However, the header works like this. It treats all these elements as separate elements and then space them evenly. Now, I want this search icon and the mini cart to be next to each other. To do that, we place them in a div. Right click on the mini cart, wrap in div, and once it is in the div, I'll grab the search form element and drag it to the top of the div. To see how that looks, go to the structure panel on the right. You see here's the div. Select the div, layout, horizontal, vertical align. With that, let's just leave it like that is as at the moment. Save. Go to the tab that has our front end open and refresh. Just look at how nice and visual that is. Doesn't matter where you are. I can go back to home page and I'll still know that I have 2 items in my cart and the cost is 80 Rand. Select it. It gives me a drop down of my basket, my cart. I can make changes here to the quantity, remove them, or select View Basket. This is a feature that you must have. I insist. No one else insists. I insist because too many websites do not have this feature and then your user gets lost. Of course, it's easy to forget about this one. Back into Breakdance, let's have a look at the settings we have for this little mini cart. Select the mini cart, it opens up, and then on the left, there are so many things here, which we are not going to cover. You have the link options, you have the cart options, you can have a top bar. Currently, your primary button is set to cart, view basket, but you can also select checkout. I'll leave it on that. And then a continue shopping link. Continue shopping, set to shop page. I like this one. Let's see how it looks now. Continue shopping. Yes, want that. Open cart on add. And this means that every time I add a product, this little flyout will open up. Let's activate that as well. Close it. Select it one more time. Let's go to design. A lot of options here as well. The link, cart, we can have it as a drop-down or a sidebar. Who doesn't love a sidebar? Look at that. Ooh. Sidebars are super cool. And you can decide if you want it left or right and full screen. So many options here. For this tutorial, we are very happy. You can level up later again with all the other features and we'll cover them in separate videos here on Websites for Beginners. As I said, at a minimum, you do need this cart. Let's save and go to our front end here. Just refresh to see how it looks. Nothing changed, but now I click on it. I have a sidecar, and I can have continue shopping. Select that, and it takes me to my shop page. Let's click here on brown cap. I've always wanted this one. Add to basket. And because I added that feature that it will open automatically whenever I have add to basket or add to cart, I see the sidebar fly out. Oh, how nice is that? I can select it again. I can remove the snapback cap because I'm tired of saying snapback. And then I'm done. Select view basket and takes me into my cart page. And from here again, proceed to checkout. Do this constantly. Go through this process a million times to make sure that your customer will be able to quickly go through the checkout process. You don't want anything happening here. Another shortcoming of many e-commerce websites is that people cannot get to their account. Yes, even if you just have one order, I think that is still important. Give people that account option that they can quickly log in. You have to do that manually, but we're going to do it, and I'll show you how to do it. We do that with the icon. Click on Add, select Icon. And by the way, we are still inside the header builder. I'll put this within the header. My icon selected, click, hold, and drag. I'm going to add it between my search and the mini cart. Things are a tad crowded here. Select the div, go to Layout, and then Gap. Let's see, 15 pixels. That looks better. Select the icon, choose, and we'll search for one called User. And this will give us that typical icon for an account, User. I think we make it a little bit smaller. What is it currently? 18 is too small. Let's double that, 36. I like that. That's better. But I need a little bit more space here on the left. Go to Settings, Advanced, and this is where I'll go to my wrapper and spacing, and I'll add margins to the left. Another 15 pixels. That looks better. Now, with your icon selected, go back to the content icon here with the little pencil and the link. Select the link option here. And from the pages that you can select, look for My Account and set the link. Save. Go to the front end, refresh the page, select the icon, and there is your account. Great way. Add this at the top as well as a link in your footer to make sure that people can get to their accounts, especially if they order regularly or if they want to track their order. Let's continue. We were here last time. I'm going to close this out, and now we're going to jump to our home page. And there's a lot we're going to do there, apart from the normal static styling and design that we will do. The other important thing that we have to do on our home page is to bring shop features onto our home page, so that when people come to our site, they do find our homepage and learn more about us, but at the same time, they are exposed to the shop from the get-go. And just like in Module 3 with the blogging, we have different sections with different focus. For example, then we focus on categories, then we focus on tags. The same thing we want to do with the WooCommerce presentation on our homepage. We really want to mix it up so that if people are not interested in the first few products they see later on in the page, they'll, okay, this is something different. Enough talky, let's doey. So our shop is fully set up. That is the pat on the back that we all deserve at this very moment. Exit, and we will go to our front, which, let's go to WordPress. And then we'll go to our pages, hop on over to pages, and homepage is that page that we've created millions of years ago, and we select Edit in Breakdance. Long time ago, I don't even remember what we did here. I'll click on the section here and go ahead and delete it so we start afresh. First thing we do is click on the button, and if I go to Fast for You, please refer to Module 1 and Module 2. All of this is covered there. Section, we give the section a background, select background, color, and this is our good friend Iron. From here, 2 columns, and I'll select my 50/50. We bring an image on the right. And of course, I can just type and enter to bring it in. Choose the juice, and go. Remove the padding at the top and the bottom, but I don't see any settings, but they are there. With our section selected, we can go to our design and then look for spacing. Yes, and padding at the top, 0, and padding at the bottom, also 0. And now we achieve this. In the left-hand column, now I'm going to type. First thing I look for is a heading, enter. Then Control A, Command A to add something else. This time I'll look for text, enter, return. Again, Control A. And this time, icon list. Icon list. So I search icon and I select icon list. No, not icon list. Backspace and look for list. And what I look for is, oh no, it is icon list. Sorry about that. Icon list. And below this, we'll add a button. Control A, Command A, and then search for button and enter. All my elements drop onto the page. Now we begin by changing out the content. This is a heading. I change the text and call it brand new collection. I'll put it on H2 because this is not my page's title. It's home page and H1 is good enough for that. Then it's somewhere up there in the head section. Then I go to design, typography, and we make changes here. I'll make the font size 70 pixels and the line height 1.2, manageable. Then I select the text element below this. First, let's change out the text. I'll select all the text and I'll bring in some lorem ipsum. Make a few changes here as well to the design. Go to typography. We change the color also to our onyx, which is our dark color variant. And for the font size, I couldn't decide if I wanted to go for 15 or 16. But for this demonstration, let's go for 15. Increase our weight. We put it on bold, which is 700. And then one more thing, I'll go to advanced and add a little bit of letter spacing, around 1.2. Very, very little, just to drag it out a bit. The spacing at the moment between these elements do not look good. We'll come at the end and fix that. Now we get to this awesome feature here, which what I show you, use it all the time. I recommend it. We have a list here, and I'm going to use the same icon for each of these elements within the list. And because that is what I will do, I'll just go ahead and click on the clear next to list to remove all of them and start afresh. The first one we will call top brands. Then I look for choose, look for a check mark. I'm looking for a check mark inside a circle. Circle check. Nicely done. And if I wanted to add a link here, I can do that. Not what I want to do. I want to use this check mark and the other. So I'll duplicate for the second one. And we call this one high quality. And duplicate it one more time. And go for the third one. And we call this free delivery. Great. Now I've created this. Go to design, layout first, stack, and select vertical. This is what I'm looking for here. Nice. We can play around with the text indent. That is the space between the icon and the text. 8 pixels. Okay. Space between. Let's add a little bit more. There we go. Let's put it on 30. And now hop over to the icon and we change the color of the icon also to our onyx. And the same we will now have to do for our typography, collapse, color, and make it darker. For the button, I'll change out the text, explore shop. And we've set up all our content. It doesn't look good because there's no spacing, there's no structure, and we do that by selecting the parent container, which in this case is the column. I'll just click here. I see the bounding box for the column, and I'll select a column. Many other ways you can select it. You can go to the structure panel and select a column here, or select any of these elements and just go up one level by selecting the up arrow here in the label. And that's how we get to the column. Move over to layout and we put them vertical. Nothing changes as they are already vertical, but then we go to vertical align and we put them in the center. Next, we add a gap here of 30 between the elements, and just by adding that, things look better, there is harmony again, and we all feel like we can call it a day. But we've just started, so no way. Usually for the button, I think it's just one of those things that we do. We want to add a little bit more separation for the button from the rest. I'll select the button, hover at the top to get that margin, and I'll drag it in and put it around 60 pixels. 59 or 60, no one cares. I know I do and you do, but just remember, if you cannot get it and if you need that, select the button, go to the design in the options panel on the left, spacing, and add it here, margin top. Quick responsive check. We go to our tablet landscape and everything is now stacked because that's how the columns work. Go back to design. I'll select the main columns parent container, which means columns, and then go to layout and I will say stack vertically. I usually just go for phone landscape. Now we go through the process again. Looks good. I think so. Here we need to change the size of our heading. So I'll click on the heading. And for this, I will go for something like 56. Reduce it dramatically. And we also want to make a few changes here to the button. Bring that up. So you can see because of all of this extra space being added here, there is this space that appears here under the image, which looks very weird. And we're not selling some ghost. And that means this icon list over here. Click on the icon list. We go to layout, space between. Let's start at 0 to see what we're working with. Add 5. Let's see if we can add 10. Yes. And now we've created that. A little bit cramped, right? Majorly cramped. But that's where we are at the moment. And then from phone landscape, things will start stacking. And we probably now need to add padding at the top of our section. Select section. And I say probably, the answer should be must. And we go to padding. Let's add around 35. Good. Looks better. And let's go to phone portrait. And I just know that this is not going to look good on very small devices. So select the heading and font size. Let's see, 48. I still think that is too big. I'll just drop it down to 36. And hop right back up to desktop, tablet landscape, tablet portrait, phone landscape, and we didn't do much with our heading there. I never checked it for responsiveness, something we have to fix. Great. And that is our first section. What is very important here? What did I say before we started with this page? Almost everything we do on this home page is to lead people constantly to our shop. We want them to shop, shop, shop. And that is why this button Explore Shop is here. We want them to take them to our shop. Select the button, first settings, link, and you can click here on this link option, see what is available here. If you're not sure where to link it to, this is always a good place to start. You can see you have products, you have page, basket, and then here shop. That's a very easy way to do it. Select shop and click on add link. And now you can also see that here is my site's full URL and then shop. And basically, if you know this little shortcut, you can just remove all of that and then just type in /shop and it will give you the same. Save, copy the URL, open a new tab, and let's have a look and select Explore Shop. Baba, and we're in our shop. Perfect. Next section. Next section is a little bit of design, but also giving our customer idea of our services. What do we offer? Features of our services. A very small little section. Back to Breakdance. I'll bring in a section first, add section and change the background color. We're going to do this contrasting thing with light, dark, and the color I go for is onyx. Now this one, we are going to have 4 columns here. And each of these will have an icon box highlighting one of our features, our services. The question you're going to run in every time with Breakdance is the following. Click on plus, and that is columns, grid, or even div. Yes, or even div. Because at the end, I can create this with all three of them. And I did do that while I was working on the demo for the site, but I decided for this demo, or rather for this video, I'm going to use columns and show you, because the columns has an interesting feature here. Columns, and we need 4. Click in the first column, look for icon box, and we bring it in, and it does something which I'm not too crazy about. It brings in so much preset styling, but you can clear all of that. If you go to the settings in the sidebar on the left, you'll notice all of these little dots next to the features, as well as here in the styling. This is that default styling that has been applied. You can clear it all. On the other hand, this is useful to see what's going on. So decide how you want to do it. But remember, if you get stuck on anything, select modified here at the bottom. And this is where you can go ahead and clear everything out. Let's do it from scratch. First, I will choose an icon. From my icons, I am bringing in this one over here, Save Payments. This is the little icon, very small at the moment. There's a rotate, no need for that. And the title, Secure Payments. And then our text is the line under that, 100% Save Payments. Basically saying exactly the same thing. The button, I do not want a button here. This is just the info section, so I don't want people to click here at all. I'll go to button on the left and clear. It removes the button. To bring the button back, go to the settings here, and then you just add the text, and that will bring in the button the moment you add some text. Right, let's clear it again. Title tag, up to you, H2, H3. Design, this is where everything happens. Container, and when I was here with the container, I looked at all of that. Now look here, this is very important. Whether you're working with the columns or the grid or a div, it's set to 500 pixels. And if you don't see this one and you start working with just 1 or 2 columns, you'll be confused why this icon box isn't any bigger. And that is this default setting. I'll do the bold thing. I'll go ahead to container and clear everything. And let's even go to icon here, and I'll just click that and I'll clear everything from that as well. Let's work on this. So the width and the height, surprisingly, I'm not going to touch it. Background, I'm not going to touch it. I want this black background. So very little that I have to do with the container. In fact, nothing at all. Then we go to the icon. It's in the right spot. I like it there. The color is set to our strawberry red. Is it right? Strawberry red by default. So I don't need to make changes to that. Let's see for the size. Put it on something like 34, 42. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Yes, a little bit bigger. And you can decide if you want a background for it. I like it as it is at the moment. Next, typography. Title. Change the color to white. We change the font size, 18. And that's it. Next, under, I deselected it. Select it again. Let's go to text. We do more or less the same. That font size we're going to reduce 14. Yes, it's very small, but it's just a little underlining subheading there. And the weight will make sure it's on 400. And for the color, I'll choose this iron. Make it a little bit more legible. Having created this and knowing that I'm going to use it in these other columns. So let's duplicate this. And what we can do here is delete all these columns. Right-click, delete, right-click, delete. Select this column, one up, you duplicate, duplicate, and duplicate. Nicely done. Let's change out the content. First, this one, the icon box, choose. And my icons, 30 days return, 30 days return. Let's see if we can get policy in there. All goods, all defective goods. Next one. Choose. And this one is 24/7 support. Always available. Some nonsense like that. Always available. And then the last one. Let's click on this one. And this is free delivery. And a little condition there. Over orders over $100. $1 billion. And we've created that. Next, I'll reduce the padding at the top and the bottom. That's always under spacing. And I'll just make it 25 pixels at the top and at the bottom. Here is the next one. Let's go and have a look at what's going to happen on tablet landscape. It starts stacking. So the first thing, there are two things, is that I do not want it to stack yet. First, we start with our column, go to layout, vertical, and we align it to the middle. Now we have to go to each of them and do the same. Advice I would give you here is once you style out one of these guys, you create a preset and you apply the preset so when you make this change, it will change for all of them. And I should have done that. Where am I now? Over here. No, column, sorry. Layout, and we do the same. Let's go again to tablet landscape. This is what we expect. We go to tablet portrait. Aha. Nice. All because of that setting at the columns level, parent container to 50% width on tablet portrait. Go to phone landscape. It's the same. Yeah, it's a little bit squashed, but you can see it's the same. But remember, we also told the parent's container for columns to stack vertically from phone portrait. And that is the last breakpoint over here. And now they are stacked vertically. The stack vertically will override the 50% width. So the 50% width, a nice little option that helps you with your columns. This is, of course, going to work well if you have even columns. And that is where I found often when I'm working with columns of 3 columns, the 50% won't work. You'll have to go for the stack vertically option. But in this matter, we've quickly made work with the 50%. Nice section. Good. Let's list some of our products in the next chapter. New section, add section, where am I? And we bring overline or an eyebrow, it's also known. It's just a little text element at the top, and below that add a heading. Boom. And the heading, we change it out, we call it latest arrivals. And as always, remember that Breakdance brings it in as an H1, we want it on H2. Select our eyebrow, our overline area with this text, and say check out our latest additions. Add some margin between these two. And for the overline, we usually do some little bit of design there. I'll go to typography. I'll keep the color. What I will do though is go to advanced and put it on all caps. Then I'll go to the weight. I'll put it on 700. That full stop doesn't work for me. And then one more thing, advanced again, and I'll add letter spacing 2. Let's reduce the font size to 14. Good. This is kind of what you're used to on many sections. I just want to remove the full stop. Full stop. There we go. No stop. Below this, I select latest arrivals, go to add, and now we are out of the WooCommerce builder, but we still have access to WooCommerce elements. At the very bottom, when you collapse all of these options within the sidebar for the elements, you go to WooCommerce and you have all of these features. However, many of them will not work on a static page. A little bit of a shortcoming that we don't only see those that will be relevant here, but just like in the blogging in module 3, this is what we work with. And whenever we want to bring in our products to showcase them on any page, the element to work with is this top one, the products list. Again, I want to reference module 3, where we worked with the post list element. What a powerful, powerful element that is. Same here for the product list. Select. It populates with my products, and we have to do so little here. First, I'll select my heading and add a little bit of space here so that we can have that separation. And it looks like we paid someone to do this for us. Select again the products list element and work on it. Now here we have a few that we can choose from the query, right? Which do we want to show? Featured, on sale, manually. Now remember, latest arrivals. What is the rule about these list elements? They always come in chronological order from the newest to the latest. And that is done by this order, which is descending. Descending is latest first, or newest first, and oldest last. Yes. That means the snapback cap is our latest one. And that all I need to do is decide, do I want to show all my products? The answer is absolutely no. I want to stick to 4. There's a product count. Let's say in 1. What happens if I say 1? I see only 1. This makes it easy. So we go to 4. What is strange though here is that this is not responsive, right? For the product count, not responsive. Very interesting that it's not there. Let's see what happens when we go to tablet. Tablet, it's still going to look fine. Tablet portrait, it squeezes, right? Now it moves over, and then tab phone landscape, that's fine. And this is stacking that we're used to. So only on the tablet portrait, this doesn't look well. Let's see if that is something that we can affect in design, layout, products per row. This is okay. So what they are doing is the amount of products we can show. We set here, and that's not responsive. So we show 4. But how it will display, we can change that under layout. Let's go to tablet landscape. 4, yes. Then tablet portrait, no, don't like it. So what we can do here, products per row, is we can say 2. Right. Let's see if I put 4. I still think it can work here on this tablet device. And now, phone landscape, it will also be 4. Why? Because it's inheriting the 4 from the level above. Here we have to make that choice, and we do it by adding a 2. And then next one is phone portrait. Do we want 2 products or 1? That will depend on how you feel about it. Maybe 1 is better, but I feel it's so broad, especially on a home page, maybe 2. And what you can do here is go into styling the size of the title as well as the pricing, make it smaller and apply it. Let's navigate back to the desktop. There are always a million ways you can do the same thing in a builder. Sometimes you can do it with dynamic content, sometimes there's a function, sometimes we do it manually. I'm going to show you quickly a manual way in which we add a button here to tell view all. But actually all this view all will do is take you to the shop page. Now remember, I don't actually want to show all of them on my home page. I constantly want my visitor to go to my shop page. The purpose of your home page is to get people to go to your shop. That is the WooCommerce thinking. You don't want people to navigate away from your website. You don't want them actually to care about the static stuff on your page. You want them to shop. Get them to the shop page. Mix up the design. I'll click on Add, Basic, and I'll bring in columns. I'll drag it, and this time I'll put it above. Check out our latest editions. Make 2 columns and drag these 2 in there. Click Add, bring in a button, and I'll put the button on the right. Select my column, go to Layout, and I'll say horizontal, and I'll put it horizontal. No, I'll put it on vertical, and then to the right. Select the button. Let's see, we go to button, secondary. Yes, that's what I want. That's my secondary option, is a outline function. No need to do any styling. I'll select it, type in view all products, and like before, I go to my link and I'll type in shop. Exactly what we did up here. When we said explore shop, we lead them to our shop. Here, when they click view all products, they want to see more than just this 4. But instead of expanding here on this page, I'll actually take them to the shop page. Exactly what I want. So save, go to the front end, refresh. No, just select home. There is our section, info section, and then here, our latest products, view all products, and we are back at our shop page. For this next section, we're going to apply some next level magic, so pay attention. Let's bring in a new section, and what we want to achieve with this section is to navigate people or to guide them to specific categories of our shop that they can go to. Similar to what we did with posts where we had the categories, now we're going to do the same with our shop. This is an intricate design. I'm not going to change the background yet, but I will change it soon. But it will be a dark one, so with that we have this alternating dark, light, dark, light. Bring in columns. I'll have 3 columns. And we work on the first column first. With the column selected, go click on the column, go to background, image, and I'll use my image here, which is this guy. My column, I'll give it a fixed height to work with, which is 450 pixels. Scroll down to size, and then minimum height 450 pixels for my column. Click add, and this is where you may be tempted to add a div, but we have another kind of div called a wrapper link, and I want to make that clickable. And to do that, I'll use the wrapper link. So search for link, and it gives us wrapper link. Click and drops into the column. Within the wrapper link, just like a div, I can add content, and I'll add here text. Select the text. I'll change the text and I'll call this t-shirts. Even though he's not wearing a t-shirt, this is going to be our t-shirts category. With the t-shirt selected, let's go to the typography settings. Change the color to white. Font size to 24. And then our font family will also make this IBM Plex Mono. Weight at 700. And now we have to make this thing shine bright like a diamond. The first thing I will make shine is my wrapper link. Select that. With my text, I'll go up 1 level to wrapper link. We'll add the link at the end. Let's go to design, container. And I get a little bit mixed up here and there, but this is where we go to the container. Before we look at container, go to background and change our dark onyx. You can see we've created a little label, but we're going to make this, badge label much bigger. To do that, now we go to container. I was looking for sizing, couldn't find it, and then realized later it's under container. Put our width here, and the width I'm going to set to percentage 80%. And the 80% is the parent container, which is the column. You can see there's a little space here, 20% open. But for the minimum height, I decided to stick to pixels, and I put that around 125 pixels. See what works for you. Now that we have this label, doesn't look good, but stick around. Select the column again, go to layout, and we put it on vertical and put it at the bottom. You see where I'm going with this. Go back to the wrapper link. Now we also style this one out. Layout, also vertical, but we put this one vertical middle. And then we add padding here on the left. Close this. Again, we go to container for that. And the padding is here. And we add 35 pixels on the left. I've created my card. And what I will do is when people come here and they click on it, it will navigate them to the t-shirts category specifically. And I'll add 2 more here. But we're not done here yet. We want to style out everything before we copy to the other columns. I want to bring in a little bit of animation, something I'm not big on, but I'm going to do it in this event. And this one can be a little bit strange. And this one is a function that Breakdance hides between layers and layers of clicks. A little bit annoying, but this is how we do it. With the wrapper link selected, go to our settings, advanced, wrapper hover. And we want to apply some effect here when people hover over the wrapper link. And that is the entire wrapper, and the hover state is applied. Select the settings. At the bottom, choose effects. You see, we're diving. And what we do is transform. Select the transform. Then we want to add the transformation. How many clicks is that? It's crazy, right? And next, I have to select which transform. From the drop-down, I select scale. I can hover over it, nothing happens. I have to set the scale here. If you've ever worked with this, you know that these values are super sensitive. Put in a value of 1, nothing happens. It's a 1-to-1. Put in a value of 2, you see it's already halfway. It doubles. That is what scales. And everything inside the wrapper, the text as well, will scale. I just want to add a little bit of flair, so I'll put it on 1.1, 10%. Hover over it, and there we go. I don't want it to scale from the center. You see now it's going outside this column. I want it to scale here from the bottom. For that, go to Origin, drop down, bottom left. Now it will scale from here at the bottom. Good. This scaling happens very abruptly at the moment. We fix that, close this box, transform, and then under Effects, go to Transition and click on Add Item. And we just say Timing Function, and I'll select something like Ease In. That makes this transition just a little bit smoother. It still looks weird here, but trust me, on the front end, it will look super duper. Hannibal will be so proud. Save. You know, a plan comes together. Cringy, I know. Go to the front end. Refresh our home page. Scroll down. Hover. And nicely, it scales. And because it's a wrapper link, you see my little cursor already turns into a hand to click it. Currently, we don't have the link there yet. Let's go do the link quickly. I've achieved everything that I've wanted to achieve with this one. We only need to care about responsiveness still. Now, how do we bring in the categories for a product? So what I will do from my front end, I'll just go to WordPress, Control-click to open the WordPress backend. Go to WooCommerce section, Products, and then Categories. And this is where you will find your categories. We have accessories, jackets, sneakers, and t-shirts. When you select any of them like t-shirts, this slug t-shirts will appear here. But that's not all. You also need to bring in the product category part of the URL. I'll click here on Update just to go back to our list. Oh, or should I just select categories? Yes. Oh, there is go to categories. Easiest way if you're not sure what the exact layout will be is to go to the categories. This is t-shirts and select View. Again, I will Control-click on View because I want to keep this open. Control-click, Command-click opens a new tab in your browser. Look at the address here at the top. Product-category/t-shirts. Now, we previously, go back to Breakdance, clicked on the link, and we had all of these appear here. And you can see we have our page, we have our product, but just like with blogging, we don't have tags and we don't have categories. Quite a pity. But what we do is we just copy this part here. Product-category/t-shirts. Go ahead and copy. You don't have to copy the whole thing, but if you just want to quickly do that, the whole thing is fine. No difference. Go back to link, paste it, and save. Go to the front end again, refresh, scroll, click on t-shirts, and it takes us and only filters basically to t-shirts. This is our products category archive page. What we want to achieve with this section, again, is to get people to go to our shop all the time. But now that we've done this, let's bring in 2 more categories here. We delete these 2. Select a column, duplicate, and duplicate. And then we change this one out. What are the other categories? Let's have a look here. Sneakers, jackets, and accessories. Okay, first let's change the image. Column, choose, and this one we'll call jackets. Jackets. And then click on the wrapper link. And I know here I can probably just type in jackets. And then for this one, column, background, choose, and our image for accessories. And because I'm not good at spelling accessories, I can try. Let's change it here. Accessories. Did I do that correctly? Let's go to product area. I'll click here again on Control click View to open up, and then just grab the whole URL at the top. And now for this one, select the wrapper link and paste. Good. And save. Continue. Move back to the front and we go to our home page. Let's test the other two jackets. Did I get the URL right? Yeah, but it gives me elegant back. Okay, that's our fake shop anyway. And test accessories. And the final thing I'll do is bring in my design for the dark, light, select my section, background, and now we have a nice layout here. Gives that feeling to the shop, nice contrast with the red, very professional, on brand. Save. It's always important to have your sales happening. Always. I cannot stress that more. If you have a shop, you should try to have 1 or 2 things on sale at all times so that you can entice people to shop and just give them that feeling they are scoring something. We'll use this section, but now we'll turn it into focus on sale. I want to reiterate what I've said now a few times. Constantly, we want people to shop. Here we have our latest, then we have categories. Below this now, we will have our sale products. This one, for our categories, we really went the extra mile with design, coffee, sleepless nights. This one, we used the list element for the products. So easy. So let's use this one again. Instead, though, of designing everything from scratch, I can just go ahead and copy this. But remember, there's another way to do that in Breakdance on static pages. Select the section, go to Add, and then at the very top, select Library. And then from the design set, make sure it is set to this website and make sure you are on the home page, which we are. Now I scroll to this section. I'll click Add to Page. Ooh, charge your clients extra. We make a few changes though. The first thing I will do is remove this column here. In fact, I can remove the columns, but I'll just delete this one. Then select this column and we'll just spice it up. I'll center align everything. Now we can say you're selling like hotcakes. Selling like hotcakes. And then latest arrival, we say on sale. Wow, amazing. Now we have a great feature. Click on the products list and look to the left. And you will see show products. Currently we set it to all, but we did restrict it to 4. All the gratitude goes to Breakdance for giving us this. No need to set it up. Instead of having to go into query and set it up, I have these 3 options here. And this one on sale. Brilliant. This is what I want here. And if you don't know how to do this, this is a WooCommerce feature. You go to your product within WooCommerce and you set it up there. And then the badge will display here. I only click on sale. I leave all the rest of the settings like it is and my products on sale. However, I will do one thing, and that is for the order. I will go to random. I like this feature so that there's a little bit of change. It doesn't look exactly the same order as these guys at the top. And now we have that done. And I'm pretty sure we did a very good job on our responsive design. So when I go through the others, we should be happy with what we see. We put this on 2, but remember I said you can choose if you want it on 1. How cool was that? You can make a few more changes if you want it to look different in terms of styling, but the consistency for me here in the title and the pricing and the add to basket button, I think makes me want to say, let's leave it as is. That's a short chapter, but the goal has been achieved. People come to my site, they like your shoes, they buy your shoes. The next section, we're going to brag a little bit about the latest fashion technologies. No, not like anyone cares about it, but there are always a few people that are interested in what you are doing for the environment. So just a short little note from the CEO. We're going to splash it out, keep it in style. Bring in a new section, add section, and then from this 2 columns, columns 2, and we start with the image in the right column. This is not just going to be any image. I'll drop an image there. Click Choosity Choose, click Choose, and bring in our CEO, Amanda. And now, very important, I'm going to scale this image. I want it to be bigger than the container it is in. That is done with Transform. With the image selected, go to Settings, and that is done at the advanced level, Wrapper, and select the settings, and we go to Effects. We do the deep dive thing again here. So we go to Transform, then we select the Add. Under the drop-down, we choose Scale again. Now, we're not doing it at a hover level. We're doing it on page. I want it bigger. I want it to go outside the borders of the container of the image as well as the column. The scale, remember, 1, there's no scaling. It's 100%, 1-to-1. 2, it's double the size, which is way too big. 1.3, I thought it's a little too big. 1.2, maybe a little, so let's say 1.25. We split the difference. But one thing I want you to note is how the scaling happens. It happens here from the center of the image. I'll put it back on 1. So when it scales, it is proportionally growing in size at the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. So the scaling also happens in this white space here on the right of our canvas. Let's do it again. I'll put in 1.2 so you can see we did 1.25. That is okay, and it actually looks good. But to show you how you control that, you go to the origin, and that is where the scaling point is. Currently, it's here set to the center, so it is scaling proportionally in all directions. But what I wanted to do, and I'll take away the scaling, I want it not to scale on the right. I want it to scale only to the left and to the top and the bottom. Actually, that's not correct. The scaling still happens proportionally, but all that happens is that the image, the right side of the image, remains here to the right. To do that, go to the origin and we look for center right. And now if I put in that scale of 1.25, this side does not have anything happening. It all pushes, so there's more scaling that actually happens then to the left. And that's it. We have our image there. For my next magic trick, seeing that we're busy here with magic, I want to bring in a little bit of text here, but I don't want to apply it to the entire column, just a small part. Every time you want to put something in a smaller section, container, that's a box, and that is a div. So we start with the div. Let's click on the plus and we bring in the div. And to make it visual, I'll click on background and I'll change the div color to this black. We bring in a heading and I'll click on the heading. First, change the color so we can see it, make it white. And then go to the front. This is H2 and we change it Future Perfect Technologies. Oh, what's happening there? Do not worry, we will fix that. Under the heading, we bring in a little bit of text to describe what we are doing in terms of Future Perfect Technologies. Just drop some lorem ipsum there. We style it out. Typography, put it on white. That's good. How do we add space between these elements? We go to the parent container, which is the div, go to layout, and we say vertical, the gap. Let's make that 30. And then we add the name of the CEO here, also text element. So I'll bring in another text element. I could have just duplicated that one. And I'll call it Amanda McPherson. Then CEO. Ooh. Then we go to typography and we change the color so we can see it. And we make it also bold. So font family, nope, not font family, font weight 700. This looks good. To make sure it stands out nicely from the box, which is the div, click on the div, container, padding, and we start with 25 pixels all around, apply all. Starting to shape out nicely. For more design features here with my container, I'll go to minimum height and I'll put it on 450. Then go to the top, layout, align, and put it here, vertical align center. That's within the div. I also want to vertical align it within the column. Select the column, layout, vertical, and vertical align. The problem we have is that this image is overlapping this div. That is done with the infamous and very often used Z-index. Often when I work with learners, they really don't believe they're ever going to use the Z-index in their lives. And then often within the first page is like, why is this this one overlapping that one? That is the Z-index. This one is last in the sequence. And because of that, it will always overlap everything from the top and to the left. All we do is fix this with what we call a Z-index. I can do it on a div level. I can do it on a column level. I'll select the div level. Settings. And we're going to dive, Janice. Dive. Advanced. Wrapper, layout, advanced, Z-index, and just give it any value from 1 or higher. And we go. Beautiful. Definitely we need more padding on the left and the right. I'll select the div again. Go to our styling. We had our padding and we put it on 25 pixels. Let's just double that. 50 pixels, apply all. Looks much better. Nice section from the CEO, striking, talk about future technologies, our commitment to future technologies, blah, blah, 2035, yeah. And then Amanda McPherson, she's the one who's going to see that dream come true. It's newsletter subscribe time because you definitely want people to sign up for your newsletter and then you can send them promotions and keep contact with them. More sales, more sales. Let's bring in a section and we'll do this by starting with a pre-made template and then style it out a bit. Go to the add library and it opens up to this website. From the drop down, select Samba. Samba has one category here somewhere called newsletters. There we go. Select newsletters and a number of newsletters that can work for you. 4, 5. I choose this first one. Add to page and it brings in our styling. Let's make it really ours. The first thing I notice, and I'm always one of those guys, the moment I see a rounded corner, I have to think about my site. Now my buttons have a bit of a rounded corner. I didn't put it on my images. Maybe I should. The rounded corner is actually a feature, and that is something that I have to come and fix here. I can do that quickly. Let me not be lazy. We go to borders because it's always on the border radius. Let's give it 10 pixels and the same for our div over here. Background, container, borders, and radius. Let's also do 10 pixels just to bring in that consistency. Moving ahead, we have what here? Let's have a quick look. And that is always good for the structure panel. Section, columns, and a column. It's always one of those things that's a little bit confusing. This columns container, the parents container in Breakdance is often called a row in other builders. I think one of the most difficult things often for developers is to decide upon the name and then make it work within the builder. So columns as a parent container is fine. But it becomes weird when a columns container only has one column. But yet, this is how it works. So we have the section, the columns, then the column, then we have a heading text, form builder, and the rich text. Select the columns, parent container. We have layout here, stacked vertically strictly on tablet portrait, and from the little dot, that's what it shows us. They said tablet portrait, probably phone landscape. Me, I'll probably go for phone landscape. Then to our settings, we have advanced here. What's going on here? Wrapper. And that's the thing with the columns. Doesn't have its own background settings. So it happens under the wrapper background. And this is what I want to change. I'm going to clear that. And note that we don't have anything else here for the background. I cannot bring an image. That is not apparently what the wrapper container is for. That is what the column is for, which is kind of strange. What if I wanted an image for my background and then 2 columns? But either way, select the column. We go to background. Here we have our image. Choose. Choose again. And my image appears. Let's just make sure everything is perfect here for my image. Let me add an overlay first. And I'll use dim gray. Then reduce the opacity. There we go. Go to spacing for the column, padding, and I'll add 75 pixels all around. Change out the text here. Subscribe to newsletter. In the text here, change the color, typography, put it on white. We can leave the lorem ipsum text there. And then for our form builder, we need to make a few changes here. We've covered the form quite a lot. Check out the videos for that. But for the styling here, the notify me is fine. But for our form builder here, let's go to our design, form, fields. I believe that would be field background, white. There we go. And we can reduce the opacity a little bit just to make it blend in with the background. What is this here? Notify. I wonder if it's possible for this button, submit button, left, center, right, full width, left, styles. I'm trying to figure out the container. Can it be spaced the moment it's here to the bottom? And I hope layout. Let's check layout, vertical. No, that's just going to stack them, right? We want it horizontal. It's a pity though that I cannot make that button balance. Container padding width. Yep, I don't see that. That's kind of margin bottom. That's just there at the bottom. Let's go again to form, submit button, styles, size, override width, full width. That's all with the width. Large. Let's see, default. What I'm trying to achieve here is that the button is aligned to the center, so these two are nicely balanced, but I believe I'm not going to achieve that with what we have here within the builder. Other, stepper, no, we don't need steps here. That's it. Spacing, let's try between fields, also no. So unfortunately, I don't have that. That's quite a pity, because I would like to have. But there we go. And then we have a privacy policy here. If you want to, you can work on your privacy policy. I'll just change the default color to our Mercury so we can see it a little bit better and link your privacy policy. With that, tablet, right? Tablet portrait, phone landscape. Okay, I have to make changes here. Bad job, Breakdance. You should have updated this one for us on phone landscape. Let's go to H2, change our typography. Typography. And it's set to preset, and that's why it does that. Let's go to 24. I think the padding here is my problem. That's where I put the padding. Let's put it on 5 padding all around. Make it a little bit bigger, 15 pixels all around. There is spacing. That's our spacing. Size. Width is at 100%. That's right. So let's go to the column. And the size, I have these columns here. Where is this white coming from? Spacing, container, no, size, width, wrapper, here we go. Advanced spacing. Yep, the padding. That was confusing. Yep, there we go to what I was looking for. And then the section also has size applied to it. So the height, and I'll say, let's go back to the desktop. So at least we got it to look a little bit better on those devices. And this is every time when I work with pre-made layouts, is where I kind of tell myself, just go and design the thing from scratch. The pre-made design is a good inspiration. It just delivers so many issues when you start working directly on it. But that's our subscribe to newsletter. Quick look, if you click on the form builder, what is important here is the actions part. After actions, you have your email and your store submission. The store submission is collected right in your WordPress backend. That is set up here under store submission. Nothing here that you really have to add. But the email is where you need to come and click on the new contact form message, which is set up, and change out this email here to your email address. Otherwise, you're never going to get a notification, and you've paid for premium. So you should get that. The last section on the page is, again, a focus on our products, but this time we're going to manually select them to highlight specific products that we want to promote. With this section selected, click on Add, go to Library, and select from the design set your website, this website. Scroll to this one, On Sale, Add to Page. And this time we are going to change out our favorites. Select the gems, and now click on the products list element. Under Show Products, select Manually. From the Products drop-down, all you do is you click on the ones that you want to add. We're going to limit it to 4. As I click, they are added to this box here. Black t-shirt and retro sunglasses. And the idea with this section is that you are choosing products that you want to promote to people. Here you have again your product count, and it's set to random because I basically just copied the section we created earlier. And we know that this is responsive because we did that for the previous sections where we had used this element. So no concern as to how it will look on these devices. Time for the footer section, and I advise you to spend time on the footer section because this is an integral part of your e-commerce site. When people get lost, they navigate to the footer, they look for their account, they look for their basket, all of those things. So a footer here is important. First thing is we need to create a footer template. Go to the quick navigation at the top, select the plus, we give it a title, we just call it footer, and then drop down, select footer, click save. Select edit settings so that we can assign it to the whole site location, and we say everywhere save. Click on footer. We didn't save our page, so I'll go ahead and save first. Okay, drop down footer, and it takes us to the footer template, and everything is exactly the same in Breakdance as we would expect. Click Add, Library, and from this website, we go to Samba, and from Samba, scroll to the bottom, select Footers. And there are a number of nice footers here. I like this one with the subscribe. It's a darker. Let's go to Add to Page. Some of this we cannot see because, of course, different colors, different setup, so we have to make those changes. Let's change the color of the background first, background, and I'll put it on Onyx, make it much darker. Ooh, now it looks much better immediately, and it looks like the kind of footer that we expect. Too many columns, but if you need it, then you go ahead and you change out the content. I will delete 2 of these columns. Collapse everything on the right, open it up, columns, and then these 2 last columns, I'll go ahead and delete them. Select the first column. I'll change the size. It's set to 33%. I'll make it 40%. And then for the next 2, go to size and each one is 30%. And this one automatically resizes. Change the text for this one. I choose and call it About Us. And what I will do now is change the typography. It's set to a preset. I'll call it Custom. Font is IBM Plex Mono. And we can make it 16, 18, and the weight is 700. Below this, I don't need those text links, so I'll delete them. And the text link is an element that makes setting up a text as a link very easy. Select About Us, bring in another text element. We'll just drop a little bit of paragraph there on who we are. In my text box, paste this. And do I want to keep that in this faded? I think I'm okay with it. Select the column, layout, and I'll add a little bit more gap. Put it on 30. Now we go to the second column. To do the same here for these titles like I did for this one, we create a preset. Select the first text element on the left, and I'll call it footer heading, something like that. Enter. And I've created the preset. When I go to this one, change that, and I'll call it My Account. Go to Design, choose Preset, Footer Heading, and as simple as that. What I want to do here is change these text links. I'll delete these because I'm going to make design changes to this one, and then I'll just copy it so I don't have to do those design changes again. Delete the last 3 text links. And select the first one. Under this section, this column, I want to put navigation so that my customer can find their basket, they can find the checkout, they can find their account much more easily. Select this one, and it's called the text link. Now, the text link is an element that helps you to add a link. You can go to Add and search for text link or just text, and you will see the text link option appears here. Let's drop it in so you can see how it comes in, and we go ahead and delete the original one. This is the default setting. I kind of like that color, but because it's a footer, we don't want it to be too prominent. Let's start at the front of, click on the text link, change it out to My Account. And to get the URL for your account, go to the front end and navigate to your account or the account for My Account, this little icon that we've set up in our header, and just select the whole URL. Up here, Control Copy, and we paste it here. Design, typography, color. We want to subdue it a bit. So going for something a little softer is better in this event, and we choose the dim gray. All in all, we are done here, except I don't like the line under My Account. And the reason I don't like it is because people know this is clickable. And in the past, we used to bring in WordPress, and still we'd bring in a WordPress menu and we put it on the vertical, and it won't have this line under it. This really perplexed me for a bit. How do I remove this? I thought I'll have to bring in custom CNS and all that jazz. And then I finally figured out it is called a decoration. So that line is a decoration, but with links, it is an instance that is there by default. But you can remove it. So with your typography selected in the text link, go to Advanced, then Decoration. And the decoration is underline, overline, and then even strike through. And you have styles here like dotted, dashed, and solid. And here is the function that took me quite a while to find. It's called None. And select it. It removes the line. It is still a link that you can click. Save. And we go test it. Go to the front end. Select Home. And our footer should appear now at the bottom as we had assigned it. Click on My Account. And like that, it leads us to My Account. Go back into the builder. This space here in the first column is too big. Layout gap, I'll just put it on 10. Let's go for this one too. Layout, and we also put it on 10 so it's uniform. Same for this one. Layout, 10. Now what we do is we go to my account, we duplicate, and we only need to change two things. The name, my basket, which is your cart. And again, you can come here and you can select view basket. This is on the front end, and you can see it's just basket. So you could have just used that, but I'll copy the whole URL so you can do it too. Paste it here and save. You do the same for checkout. So let's go to checkout, proceed to checkout, and that's just going to be checkout, copy, click on my basket, duplicate, and now we change this one to checkout and paste the URL. Let's have a look at what we had created here. You can see my account, my basket, checkout. It could be that they come here and they want to sign in from here. Now, that's actually done with my account. By clicking on my account, if your customer isn't signed in, they will be taken to the sign in page. But maybe they don't know that my account means they can sign in. So we're going to duplicate my account. We drag the second one down to the bottom, click on it, and then in the contents, the text, sign in, and we don't need to change the URL here. If you had additional functions to your WooCommerce site, like wish list or saved basket, you can add those here as well. Then we do the same for this one, but seeing that we've made this column so nice, why need to do all of this from scratch? Go to the last column, right-click, delete. Then we go to this column and then duplicate. Unfortunately, our settings is back to 33, so we need to go and change them all again. 40 and this one 30, and then the last one will be 30, and we'll call this categories for people who want to shop. And we do exactly what we did previously for the categories. Go to the WordPress backend, because I cannot remember what those categories are. Products, categories. And we start with accessories, and I'll control click to view it. Copy the URL, go back, and then under categories, my account, I'll select that and call it accessories. Paste the URL. Good. Then we do the next one, which is jackets. Control click, copy the URL, click on the second one, change out to jackets. There we go. Do another one. Close out these tabs so we don't get too lost in what's going on. Sneakers is next. Should only be sneakers, and it is only sneakers. And we go change out this one to sneakers. And then the last one, t-shirts. View. Close this one. Copy and change the text to t-shirts. How quickly, right? And then we have subscribed to our newsletter. That's great. You set it up like we did with the previous newsletter, and just here, probably change it out 2026 and your name or whoever made it, Madman Productions, all rights reserved, and set up the social icons. Select the most important part is coming to the social network item here in the front, and set up the link to your account. Once you are done, you can save this. And you'll check for responsiveness, quick navigator at the top, go back to home. We already saw it on the front end, so I'm not expecting anything extravagant. Great. Maybe add a little bit more padding here. Why? This default again to, is this 40, 30, 30? Doesn't look right to me. Let me click on edit footer. Let's go. Let me save. Just want to see this. This doesn't look right to me. We go back to footer. It is. 40 is then too little. I'm going to make it 60. And then this one, column, make it 20. And this one should be automatically then 20. Yes. Let's see if that looks better. And hop over back to home. Scroll to the bottom. Yeah. This looks good. Oh, we can check it on the front end as well. Let's add just a few more pages to our site. I'm not going to build them out or style anything to them. Just want to fill out our header here at the top with some more pages. And if you want to know how to bring in a blog to your site, which is the news section, module 3, you want to know how to build out the other pages, module 1, 2, and 3, everything is covered there. You can build it out yourself. The focus of module 4, what we are doing here, is mainly WooCommerce. And because we are showcasing all of these products and the product list element on the home page with these category links and the footer, we made this page from scratch, top to bottom. To create new pages, unfortunately, we need to leave Breakdance. Even though it feels like we can create it, it doesn't work properly in Breakdance. I'm pretty sure they will fix this for the future, seeing that other page builders can do that. Exit to WordPress. Let's do it and create just 2 more pages so we can have a better header there at the top. Go to our pages section. And then with our pages, we add 2 more pages. And the next page is an About Us page. We just say About. What is important though, in the current state of Breakdance, you need to click on Edit in Breakdance. That's not all. There's a second thing. If you leave this canvas empty, and you just save this page as a placeholder, you will not be able to just quickly edit it in Breakdance in the future. It's just strange, but that's how it is. You need to bring some content onto the page. So I'll just bring a section, I'll bring a heading, and I'll call it About page. So that we know we have an About page and save. Now we do the same for 1 more page, exit to WordPress. Go to the pages. Wait, why it says that? Save. Exit. And now you see About, it says Edit and Breakdowns. That's what we want to see. If we didn't add that section with a heading, this will not appear here. Add page. And this one will be news. This is module 3. You bring in a blogging section for your site. Publish it, schedule, edit and Breakdance. And we do the same. Just bring in a section. Okay, add section, Control A, heading, enter. And for the text, this is news. Now that we've created these pages, we also have to add them to the WordPress menu. One more time, we exit to WordPress. So I think there is still a lot of quality of life improvements that Breakdance can bring in terms of what you can do in the builder. Let's go to our appearance, menus. We created this, right? So let's view all, news and about. This is our most recent. And we add to menu. And shop about here. Shall we put it there? News. And we can add a contact page as well. But we had the contact button within our header. Click here at the top to go to the front end. Ooh. And that tells me we definitely need a contact page as well, which you can add. Now we have a good header here with proper navigation. We have our account section. Only thing I would say is when I look here at our garderobe, this should take us back home. We need to make it clickable. To do that, we enter the builder, and this is within the header. So I don't need to say open home. I can select open header, header. The first header is the name I gave it. Select the image, right click, wrap in, link. And then all I do is /home. It's going to take me home. Save. And let's see, do I have a page open here? Let's refresh. And click on garderobe. and it takes me home sweet home. Every shop needs a what? A pop-up. Because there is a sale, there is a discount going on. Navigate back to the home page. That just makes it easier for us to see what we are doing. And then again to the quick navigation at the top. Click on the drop down. Click on the plus. We call this discount July 4. That's ahead of time. And we say this is a pop-up and save. Let's quickly create this pop-up first. So we click on discount July 4th. Click on the plus section and that gives us the whole structure for this. Unfortunately, the pop-up doesn't have any pre-made pop-ups. You go to library, there's nothing to find here. I think so. I couldn't find it. This is another area where Breakdance can give us a few pre-made. But, you know, very easy to go ahead and make our own. Let's look for a heading. Save 10% now. Add something below that. Text. Highlight the text and say today we are feeling good. And then we add a button. And in the button, save now. Let's add margin there. One more thing, I'll duplicate this text and say use discount code at checkout. And we put the discount code there. Save 10. Let's change the color for this. Now we get to the important part. Let's save this first. Then go to our quick navigator. Look for the pop-up, select Edit Settings. This is going to be a simple application. We can go very deep into this and there will be a future course on this. But for now, very simple. The first condition, it's actually a condition, is where do we want to apply? We're going to say everywhere to our whole site. To appear, we have to add a trigger. We're going to add, then we click on Choose Trigger. We say mouse moves to exit. That happens when your cursor moves outside the view area of your browser. And all we need to do is click Save. Let's go to the front. I'll refresh the page. And we are scrolling, we are shopping. Click on, oh no, not add to basket. Let's say we want to see what this one is all about. Let's go have a look at the shop. And the whole time, my cursor remains on the page. Even when I go here to jackets from the footer. The moment this cursor moves outside the screen of the browser here at the top, there the pop-up appears. I can save 10% and just add this code at my checkout. That is, of course, a WooCommerce function that you set up. Let's add a scroll to top bottom to our page. And to make sure that it appears on every page, the best place to add it is to your header. Go to the navigation, quick navigation at the top and select your header. Everything propagates. You can go to add and then you will find this scroll under the blocks. And there are so many blocks. Progress scroll or scrolling image. No. There. Back to top. I found it. And you can just search for it. Type in back. It's the only one with the word back in. Back to top. Click and it drops within the header builder. But you'll see it's here at the bottom. By default, it gives you what you need for it to do. When people click on it, it will move to the top. We can style it out a bit. Let's go to our container button and the background border, color, and I'll put it on our strawberry red. But I don't see anything happen there. Do I need to give it a solid container? It is sticky. And we say show always, show halfway, show near bottom. We say show halfway, not all the way. We only need it once we get half the way down. And it has even that little counter showing us how that's working. How can we style that out? Must be under the button. Okay, so we have icon progress. So the progress, let's make the progress color. The tracker should be red. Why I don't see anything? Background red. Background is red. Let's make the tracker white. Okay, tracker is white. Let's switch it around. The visuals are not that great within the builder. There we go. That looks much better. And we can add also a color to our icon. Make that also red. Like so. Nice. And that is back to top. Can I add text here? Advanced, scroll offset, scroll selector, icon and text. There we go. Icon, I think, which is probably better. And we can just add text back to top. Style that out. Now we have that. Container. Button. So I guess this is the button now. Background, let's make it white. Good. And then where is my button? Oh, typography. Good. Getting it. Getting there. Back to top. Save. Jump to the front. Scroll down. And then we should have back to bottom appears. There we go. Back to top. Halfway through. So that is white on white. A little difficult to see. Let's go back into our builder and add a border. And then for the border, I'll add a width of 2 pixels, color red, and the style is solid. Let's do that. Save. And we do the regular refresh. And that pop-up just keeps on pop-upping every time I want to exit. And now we see that nice red border back to top. Let's select it. Ooh. Scroll down again. Select it. Yeah. And that brings us to the end. Yes, we are done. And this is module 4 for Breakdance. It's a long journey. It's almost, I would say, 16 hours plus of contents if you've watched from module 1 to module 4. I was thinking about it this morning while walking the dogs. Why is it taking so much longer than it used to take? There was a time I could make create a one-page video in an hour and a half, just under 2. Now it runs 4 hours plus. And I had a look at some of the older stuff that I had created, and I realized the product and what we did was so much simpler. The products could do less. So if I wanted to show, for example, I think of Brizzy, how to build a one page with Brizzy, all I had to do was go into a page. There was no focus on a heading or a footer or pop-ups, any of that. There was no blogging. There was no WooCommerce. There was no animation. None of these things. Oh, there wasn't even responsive design. We didn't look at breakpoints. We didn't look at mobile and tablets. None of that. And that is a good indicator of how more advanced the builders have become, but at the same time that the learning curve has increased and that there is more to learn than we had to learn a couple of years ago. And that brings us to the question, where do you go from here? Stay with the channel. We have loads of Breakdance stuff still coming, including we'll look at forms, we'll look at pop-ups, and there's a few other features within Breakdance that we will do mini courses on. I will also, and I have a cat here, I will also show you many other how-to features that you can do in Breakdance. And of course, are always updates rolling out, and we'll be covering that too. At the same time, we have many other things here at Websites for Beginners, and I hope you also give those videos a look to see what else is going on there. Do I love Breakdance? I have to say yes. At this moment, I would probably recommend it as the go-to builder for anyone coming new into the world of WordPress site building. I have been working on 5 or 6 builders that are supposedly beginners or no coder focused in the last 2-3 months. And in terms of features, plus accessibility, I'm not talking about internet website accessibility, I'm talking about as a beginner being able to access the product. Breakdance at this moment is the one I would recommend. Is it my favorite? Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I have many, and I like playing around with them. But this would be my recommendation that if you've watched this and you are interested in others, but you just want to build out one website, I would recommend you really think about Breakdance and make that decision. If you are looking for things with big words like variables, I think Breakdance will bring in this concept. It will probably have to do that because Elementor is the one setting the course, and Elementor just brought in variables with the atomic release. And I believe because of that, Breakdance will need to bring it in, even though you kind of don't want it. You want Breakdance in the form it is, but once one of those high-level concepts cascade down to the entry level or the no coding level, then it becomes part of the norm. And that means that in the future, what was 4 hours will now become a 5-hour course, because now we have to also focus on things like variables and teach how the variable system works within the builder. This is a long exit. I appreciate all your time. Hope to see you soon. And from me, JP, until next time.